We should be rolling out to the people there. I'm waiting. I don't. While I'm waiting for like confirmation that we're coming in, audio, all that kind of stuff's working for you guys, and I can actually see that there's people coming in here. I am of course going to remind everyone, as I always, usually, most often, probably do, that you need to go to exchange.com, get up on our email list. Lola is always putting out those newsletters. If you look around the website as well, you'll see different tabs. There's a merchandise tab there. If you want to get the Lot Lao shirt, it will show you how exactly where to get to on Ballistic Ink, so you can get up on the Magnum Boogaloo shirt right here that I'm rocking right now. And as well on Hexstrange.com, guess what? You can get you some patches from the Hexstrange patches. So we got like the super suit with blaster. This is the broadcasting patch that we have right there. When these are done, that's it. They become collector's editions. If you get them now, we'll send out a gunvote sticker from the NSSF to all the folks out there. Let's see. Right now we've got Walter in here. We're also supposed to, Walter's obviously from Safety Harbor Firearms. We're also supposed to have Jeremy Deadman of XTech Tactical joining us. I think he had some car trouble, so he's going to be a little bit late. We are going to keep calm and carry on, as we usually do. So I'm going to hit the open right now. Please smash the thumbs ups out there. Share this with your friends. I know we're being like super ghosted on the YouTubes these days. Let me hit the button and start all of this off.
Welcome back to the Hank Strange Situation.
Boom!
Lifestyles.
Subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell as Walter is doing so you can be notified every time we go live. Where's the bell, Walter? That was a little... We don't even get to see it.
Oh.
There you go. Hopefully no one had on headsets and they were turned all the way up. That's Walter Keller of Safety Harbor Firearms. Big shout out to Walther Arms for sponsoring the show, of course. We appreciate their support here. This is episode 659 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. As I said, our guest is going to be Jeremy of XTech Tactical. And Walter. Jeremy's going to probably be in here a little bit late. I don't even know if he's listening to us, but you all are listening to us, and we appreciate you joining us here on this fine Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah. Shout out to everyone who's out there. Like I said, as you guys are coming in here, smash the thumbs ups. I'll throw up the people who have been waving and thumbs upping. Randy Peacock, Jade Grew out there, Michael Avens. There you go. Dirty Sailor says we're live. Chris Bullis says keep calm and lot lao. CB says lot lao also. You know what lot lao means, right, Walt?
Lifestyles of locked and loaded.
Oh, look at that, man. You're so well trained. We got you on lock. All Thumbs says, yo, everyone. Let's see who we got. Kermit Loves Bacon. If anyone needs a shout out, let us know. Shooting Gallery Any also out there as well. Shout out to all those people.
Dirty Sailor,
yeah. Chris Winslet out there. Night Train says, I'm present. So there you go. What's up with you, Walter? What have you been up to?
Today was just work, in the
Working?
shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing too exciting.
Was it a rainy day? It was kind of overcast here.
Yeah, we had one thunderstorm, and
Okay.
And it rained for a while, and it was pretty much over with. So yeah, not all day.
Yeah. Shout out to Tyvin. I see the Tyvin show out there.
Tyvin.
Yeah. What's Tyvin up to? I don't know if he. I know his car was burning down the last time we were talking about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
So,
yeah.
I don't know what state of repair it's in now. So yeah, are you still putting up the roof or something in the shop?
No lights. I'm waiting on. I ordered 12 more of those lights, so I'm waiting for those to arrive before
Okay.
But the ones that I did put up make a visible difference when you're near them. So,
Okay,
yeah, I'm
cool.
looking forward to it, man. Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be more not fuel efficient, energy efficient.
Well, yes, that
Mm-hmm.
yes, it will be. That's
Mm-hmm.
not the main reason. The main
Mm-hmm.
reason is the fluorescents are starting to one by one die,
Okay.
and the bulbs are old and they're losing their, they're losing their brightness,
The
so to speak.
fizz, yeah, the fizz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know.
So we'll come into the 21st century, as I was told,
Yeah.
and get some LED ones, and they're relatively inexpensive in the big scheme of things. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the new ones they make nowadays last like what, 7 years or some craziness.
I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah.
many. How Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't believe. I know, as Grandpa Kelly used to say, I don't believe it's you. I don't believe any of that crap. You remember when the fluorescent screw-in fluorescent bulbs came out,
Yeah.
and they were supposed to last 20 years or 10
Right.
years or
Never.
whatever?
Yeah.
And I said, give it about 2 years, and boom, gone. See ya.
Yeah. Not the ones I
Uh,
was getting from Home Depot.
yeah.
No, I do remember that. Len Holt says, "How are the barrels coming along, Walter? Are you still having
Barrels.
barrel issues? I know I was trying to link you up with some barrel dudes. Did you ever?"
No, I I have about 44 barrels right at the moment being profiled, and I got another 16 today, um,
Hmm.
that are chambered. I need to get them over to be profiled. So probably look in a couple 3 weeks, and we'll start putting some stuff together. So
Hmm. Okay.
yeah, it's coming along. Yeah, and I got to get some drawings out to those people. I haven't done it yet, but I'll try to
Yeah.
do it tomorrow before I.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I met the guys from Shaw Barrels that have been making barrels for over 100 years,
Right.
and they make 50 BMG barrels as well. So maybe we'll get them on the show here one of these days. You know,
Okay.
we'll talk barrel stuff. Tyven Show says, Walter, didn't I send you LED lights?
Yes, you did. Those were 4-footers, and we used all of those. We've used every single one of those, and they work wonderful.
Okay, there
But
you
these are
go.
8-footers that I put up. I put up 8-footers.
Yeah,
So
I see John Crump is out there as well
ah,
in the
hey,
chat. Did you see the news from Amoland since we got John? We got. Did you see the news that
about
he
the
put up
NSS,
there?
about the other companies.
Yeah. So here, let me roll this in here for a second. Amoland leaks show. This is by John Crump. Like I said, leaks show multiple companies targeted over pistol braces in history of ATF hostility, and it has Kevin Bringingham with ATF is bracist, which was a funny post that he did on IG. I thought that was funny, and he said, and it goes on to say, in 2019, according to sources at the BATF, former Department Assistant Director of Enforcement Programs and Services, which is a long freaking title, Curtis
Yeah.
W. Gilbert discussed pistol braces at multiple meetings with other ATF employees, and then it goes on here, and then it says. Uh, QLC is the only company to go public that the ATF sent it a cease and desist letter over a firearm with a pistol brace. Multiple sources have confirmed that the ATF has served additional companies with similar cease and desist letters. The ATF believes that certain manufacturers have pushed past the legal boundaries of what is considered a pistol brace. While Amoland News was able to verify that the ATF has recently sent out letters to other manufacturers, it has not obtained the names of the targeted companies. It is not clear if these companies have received their cease and desist letters or if they will get the same 60-day stay as Q. So what do you think about that, Walt?
Well, if one got it, they all should get it because the person who put the cease and desist letter out was really not authorized to do that.
I agree with that. In terms of the suspension of hostilities.
And I'm sure
Yeah.
lawyers have usually, from not my well, my experience was a little different, but somebody
Mhm.
else I know who was being threatened by ATF for something really minor,
Mhm.
and they made it sound like everything was okay. Then all of a sudden he gets bad letters in the mail.
Mhm.
Once the lawyers got involved,
Mhm.
all of a sudden people started playing nicer,
Mhm.
and they backed off. So I don't know if that's what's happened in this case. I think this thing with this person who wrote the letter, who's really not supposed to be the person who writes the letter.
Yeah, because they're
Um,
they're not tech branch, right? They're enforcement.
Special agent, whatever. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
In
Um,
Boston, the Boston guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, I think that has something to do with it too. I mean, I don't know that for sure. The other people will probably confirm or deny that at some point. I have a feeling that the bigwigs made this guy write the letter so they weren't the ones of the focus of the bad juju. You know what I mean?
You think that was political?
Yeah, I think that guy was the
They're covering their butt.
He was the sacrificial lamb, I guess we'll say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just an idea. Just an idea.
It's possible. I think that's possible. John Crump says, "Where's Jeremy?" Jeremy, yes, he's late to his own show, but I think he had some car trouble, so we should get him in here. He's probably coming in late. And also, John Crump says, "Can you give Matthew a shout out? Shout out to young Matthew Crump."
Matthew,
Yay!
you rock.
Take your little butt and go to bed.
Yeah, be good. Let your daddy have some time.
Yeah. And Crump says he has the name of one company. I don't know if he's going to share that with us or not. Or was this a company?
Richardson.
Yeah.
Well, that's Marvin.
No, I think he's talking about a person. I think he's talking about someone at the ATF, assistant director to the ATF.
Marvin Richardson. That's I think he's talking about.
Yeah.
Who I met with when we were there. I was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so there's a question here from Axe Warrior, Uncle Mike. This is a silly question. I think let me go to the brace thing and then I'll come back to that. Alex Morris says, speaking of braces, when is the resupply of KES brace for MP5K? Which I know you answered in the chat, but what's...
Well, we are machining parts as actually all day today, and then probably around midnight, 10 o'clock, someone else is showing up and firing up the mill and running all night. So yeah, stuff is being made. We're just making a bunch at one time, so it's taking a little time. So
yeah. And I think I hope that the other companies, insofar as these other companies that are getting letters, I hope that these companies aren't trying to make like backroom deals, and they will come out and let people know that they have this, and then all band together and fight the ATF and lock down this kind of nonsense that's out there from the ATF.
All I got to say is the people in the chat, the people out in the world, write the White House, email them, email your senators, email everybody you can think of, and tell them that this is really bad stuff that they do. Be polite, don't be a turd. You don't want to get a knock on your door. And let your opinion be known. So, because the more people that do that, and the more they get, the more attention it'll more heat will put on ATF, I think. So. Yeah. And let ATF know that you think this is stupid. Okay. But be polite. Just be polite. You don't want to have a fire at your house accidentally.
Yes, and also, as I said earlier, and in the taking the risk of being redundant. #GunVote.
Yeah, you need to go out and vote. Yeah, definitely.
That's my advice.
The NSSF is the one who puts out the gun stickers. I'm a member of the NSSF. You almost have to be to go to the SHOT Show. You don't have to be, but you got preference in your table picking back in the old days when you were a National Shooting Sports Foundation member. So they do good stuff, but it's a lot of fuddly stuff, and a lot of corporate types in suits, and not real shooters, not NFA type people. People that shoot machine guns and black rifles, and a lot of.
From what I heard, the guys at NSSF like to go golfing and stuff like that. I don't know if they're really.
Well, there's a lot of social. A lot of that stuff.
They're not big shooters. They're not big shooters.
No, they really the largest growing sector of the SHOT Show, they were against the whole time. The black rifles, law enforcement was always the redhead stepchild at SHOT Show, because they were pushing the duck calls and the hunting shotguns and all that stuff. But everybody wants to go and see the cool stuff, the suppressors and all the military type stuff. And they've resisted that forever. So Bless their hearts. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't have to have SHOT Show, or it doesn't have to be SHOT Show. We could all do that somewhere else under a different name. And one of the things, you know what's funny? I saw that Rob Pincus, which I think Pincus is coming on. Is Pincus coming on this week, Lola? Tomorrow. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Oh, actually, yes. Pincus is coming on tomorrow, Walter. Guess what?
Oh.
Did you see the video from like that NFAC, the last NFAC thing that happened? You looked at any of that video?
I didn't actually watch the video.
Oh. Well, okay, bless your heart.
Well, I kind of knew what it was about after it was described to me 500 times. Yeah.
Here's the thing. If you look at that video, there's a guy who, when the guy who ND'd, there's someone who comes in there and puts hands on the gun, puts the gun down, takes it away from the guy, right? And I thought that was a cop. That guy actually reached out to me. He's not a cop. He happens to be a 3%er. And he was there doing security at that event. And he's also coming on tomorrow to talk about that stuff.
Oh.
So we're going to have Pincus and that dude tomorrow. How you like them apples?
Well, those apples sound pretty good.
Yeah. So insofar now as the NSSF and SHOT Show, Pincus, I saw, was posted an article, which I'm going to try to pull up here, because I thought it was interesting. And I was saying to myself, how exactly... let's see, here it goes. This is from 3 News in Las Vegas. I'll put it up here for people who want to see that. It says, Clark County details requirements for large gatherings at events and trade shows. And I saw Pincus posted this in a SHOT Show thing. Las Vegas, Clark County has released a detailed look at what's required in order to hold large events and conferences amid the COVID-19 breakout. A county spokesperson says large gatherings plan submission guide will apply to all of Clark County in each of its cities, Las Vegas, Henderson, North Las Vegas, Mesquite, and Boulder. Under the state's new emergency directive, events with a seating capacity of 2,500 or more will be capped at 10% of total capacity to host more than 250 people.
There's going to be no SHOT Show.
Yeah.
How do you do that when there's 25, 30,000, 40,000?
10% is all the people who are exhibiting.
That's more. No,
it's not. I mean, it's probably there.
It's more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So it says trade shows, conferences, conventions, and other gatherings with more than 250 people will be capped at a total of 1,000 attendees. So that's smaller. That's smaller shows. You can only have 1,000. I mean, there's 1,000 people in a restaurant in Las Vegas.
There's 1,000 people when they're coming and going in the morning. There's 1,000 people in 20 feet of the hallway.
So what's the usual SHOT Show thing? Because they're saying anything over 2,500, you can only have 10%. So usually a SHOT Show, how many people is it?
The whole time or in a day?
Yeah, when we go to SHOT Show, how many people do they say? Yeah, what's the average of people? It doesn't have to be the highest number.
I think they always tout that they had like 45,000 visitors or something like that, somewhere in that number like that or more.
Yeah, so let's say 50. Let's round it up to 50. So that would be 5,000 people. So there can only be 5,000 people at the convention, basically.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
So what companies are getting banned because
it's not looking good.
So here's the thing. Here's a list. There's a whole list of stuff. And let me see. I think if you guys want to see this, I could share this. Can I share this? Let me see. Boom. Okay, I'll share that with people. And here, Walter, actually, I'll put this in the chat or our little internal chat, so you can take a look at it as well if you want to do that and take a look at it here. But I will read from it while you're doing that. So it says here, Clark County says the following steps will be required, though the list is not meant to be exhaustive. So I'm not sure. But number 1, plan must address how the event organizer will confirm that attendees do not have any COVID-19 symptoms. So
you can't.
Yeah, I don't know. So 2, designate a licensed or certified medical professional who must always be located on site. Okay, good luck. That's a massive site, so that's gonna be right there about a couple hundred people. 3, designate primary contact from the event organizer that will be responsible for collecting and retaining names and contact information for all attendees for 60 days following the gathering or event to assist the local health authority with contact tracing should there be a positive case identified from the gathering event. Well, I don't know a lot of gun guys that are going to want to be part of this stupid contact tracing nonsense. Including myself. I don't want Vegas putting me on some stupid list.
Yeah, because Vegas is a leftist-run outfit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I remember the last time I was in Vegas for the last SHOT Show, Lola and I went to an event there. It was actually an Olight thing. Everyone don't get up in arms. But it was an Olight thing that they invited us to. We went into the hotel. And Lola had on like a gray backpack and I had a black backpack. And they said that my backpack had to be searched, but not hers. And I was like, forget it. I don't need to be here. You know, it wasn't that easy. There was some cursing on my part and, you know, and some terse words. But basically, anyone who had a black backpack that came in there had to be searched. But if your backpack was any other color, it didn't have to be searched. So this is how stupid these people are.
Oh, you know, this past weekend I went to the Cabbage Patch Bar, and there was probably a few thousand people there, and a lot of motorcycles. And guess what? Not a effing mask in the whole damn place.
Oh, awesome!
It was so nice. Yeah, that's damn straight. You know, a lot of Budweiser. And, you know.
Yeah.
Not a mask.
So Axpa Warrior, that's Uncle Mike, by the way. He says, not meant to be exhaustive is what people say when they want room to throw out anyone or anything they don't like, but want to look like they have principles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Lola posted up on the thing, what, 58 to, where's it at? Where'd it go? 58 to 65,000 number of SHOT Show attendees in the past 3 years. Yeah.
Big Cliff, by the way, Big Cliff says had to look for the broadcast. That's why I'm telling you guys to share. Because I put out stuff and I share stuff on social media. But even if you ring the bell, even if you're subscribed, they're just not telling people about this thing. So that's why I'm asking everyone, just like come in. We've got almost like 80 people here, which is, I know, kind of low. But smash the thumbs ups if you're out there, if you're listening. If you hate us, smash the thumbs downs too, whatever. You know, some people watch us just to hate us, you know, I mean.
Yeah, share it on your social media. Just share it and drop it on there. You don't have to do any big post or anything. Just share it.
Yeah, just tell your buddies.
Yeah.
Black Sword Shinobi says there's racists of black backpacks. The black backpacks.
Black backpacks matter.
Yeah, that's what Aspa said. Yeah.
For those who haven't been to the SHOT Show, and I don't know what it's like at other conventions, but I mean I do. Like at SEMA, it is a freaking madhouse, and people, you cannot social distance yourself at SEMA. I don't care what you do.
No.
So how are they going to handle in the morning at SHOT Show?
You can't do it at SHOT Show, man. I think
the main hallway
bigger,
coming in there.
Everyone's on top of each other for sure. Yeah.
The main hallway coming in there is solid people, back to back, back to back. Going out in the afternoons. What are they going to do? They're going to let you go. Now you go. Now you go. Now you go. And by 8 o'clock, you might get out of the place. You go. You go. You know, they're usually at SHOT Show. They're flipping the lights off.
You mean they're gonna do that crazy thing that stores were doing, where only so many people can go in at a time, but there's massive lines outside? Oh no! No! I'm not down with that nonsense.
Usually, this is what happens at SHOT Show at night. Show's over. They flip the lights down the halfway, and they tell everybody to get out. It's time to leave. Go. Gotta go. Even the exhibitors, after a certain point, they get out of here. You know, it's like, man, what are you doing? I can't go out in the hallway, dude. Man, there's too many people. I'll get social distanced. You know, I'll get violated. You know, so
yeah, it's crazy. Shout out to Big Dre 357. I see him out there as well. So let me see. Let me go back to these rules because I wasn't even done, Walt. I wasn't done, by the way.
Oh, okay.
What number did I leave off on? I don't know if you remember.
I don't remember. No.
Complete. Let's see. Complete and submit. This is number 4. Complete and submit diagrams of the layout of the event, convention, conference, or meeting areas as applicable. Applicable. Excuse me. I don't know why that throws me off. Applicable to identify the sections, pods, and other required seating arrangements, as well as the ingress and egress points for attendees. Okay. Number 5. Identify how event registration and check-in will be accomplished to avoid crowding. Oh yeah.
If I'm not mistaken,
it's not going to be.
no. And I'll just say this: I've been agitated before at the SHOT Show with all their bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You throw this COVID-19 garbage on top of it, even worse.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So and AXPA is what AXPA Warrior says how I'm supposed to pronounce it. But let's go back to the list. I think I was at 6. Number 6, identify the barriers, markings, or other elements that will be used to reinforce social distancing, such as stanchions or hedges. What? Okay. That I don't know how they're going to do that at SHOT Show. Number 7, identify the staff resources that will be utilized for enforcement of face covering and other social distancing requirements, occupancy counting, metering of crowd access to certain facilities, crowd/congregation control. So you know what? You know there's always a lot of security there. They're going to get there's going to be how are they going to get all the security guards in there?
How are you supposed to go to the bathroom?
I don't understand this. They're going to be more security there and more staff making sure everyone, like, they're going to fill the capacity by just the staff. Right? Or the staff immune. Then maybe the staff isn't getting counted.
For those who haven't been in the shop, there's an upstairs, there's a downstairs, and then there's like 5 or 6 outer rooms. Then there's a hallway area upstairs where the new people are. And they're like, that's jam-packed full of people during the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So there's two more. Let's do these and then we'll go on here. Let's see. Get this up here. Okay, so number 8, identify the communication protocols with all attendees prior to arrival, upon arrival, and throughout the event. And number 9, identify the cleaning and disinfection protocols that will be implemented. Oh, yeah. You know what, Walt? If I worked for a company that was going to be a SHOT Show, and they're going to make you clean those guns, oh my God. Those guns are not going to exist. They're going to get rubbed down to nothingness. I don't know how that's going to work.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you just can't touch the guns then.
I don't know. I think NSSF just needs to cancel this. But from what we've heard before, they won't cancel it until they meet in November, right? If they're going to cancel it at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they meet in November.
Well, like you said, the electronic show's already been canceled. Mm-hmm. And that's the week before SHOT Show. Mm-hmm. And I think there's some stuff after SHOT Show that's already been canceled. Mm-hmm. So, SEMA was canceled. That's coming up in November. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you put on a show with thousands of people, and because that'd be like putting lines in the aisles telling me I have to go down this one and I can't go down that one. Yeah. When I got to get back to Table Fast, I cut across that show like a lightning bolt, and there's not going to stop me.
Yeah, like a bulldozer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't really know. I mean, 10% of the people in the building when we do SHOT Show are staff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, and on Sundays, after everybody's out drinking and partying for 3 days straight, a lot of them have already left, but most of the people there on Sunday are all staff anyways in the morning.
And keeping everything clean. What about all these company executives and their hookers? There's no way. Those hookers, they're not clean. You've seen that, right? I'm not making this up. This
Oh, you mean
dude's walking.
walking around with chicks?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. This is real. I don't know that this is actually gonna happen. So
Well, this might
if
be
it
the
does,
final.
it's gonna be pretty much. It's not gonna be comfortable. I would feel bad for anyone who has to go, including me.
I don't want. I'm not going to wear a mask the whole time because you cannot communicate people with a mask. Boom, 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 boom. And it's like, what the fuck? Get that thing off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a little bit crazy. So let us know. I don't know what the betting is, but this right now, I'm gonna say it's pretty much 75% against this happening at this point. This just moves
Yeah.
it up. I used to have it at 50-50, and now I'm like 75-25.
I don't know how you. Once again, I don't know how you manage the crowds
Yeah.
because it's just the crowds are. Okay, here's another good example.
hmm
Uh, um, the buses that take people back to hotels.
hmm
There's 2 seats on one side and 2 seats on the other.
hmm
You can't sit next to somebody,
No. No.
so you're going to put one person in each. Uh,
Oh,
I've
it's gonna
seen
be
it.
a
I've
mess.
seen it in the shuttle buses. The people are standing.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It's crazy, and a lot of those people on those buses is just the people who work. Like
yeah,
the companies have their own people, or they have transportation for their own people to get back to things. It's gonna be crazy. I don't see how it's gonna happen like that. Because
what are you
just
going
the
to? You can.
security guards and the people monitoring you and telling you all this stuff, it's going to exceed 10% of that
You're going
capacity.
to. How are you doing? You're going to clean the bus after every trip?
They're gonna
I
have to.
don't. I don't know. I.
Yeah.
I. I don't know.
Yeah, Aspo says he says if you sit down, you can't spread COVID-19, so you can have your mask off like restaurants. There you
Sure.
go. Yeah.
Sure.
And Big Dre says if I can figure out how to get a PES pass, I would like to go. What does a PES pass mean? Oh, press pass. Sorry. Okay, he corrected that. Yeah, press pass. Yeah. If you so to get a press pass, you go to NSSF, and there's a media section on the website that you can you go look through there, and it'll walk you through what you have to do. So go
Yeah.
to the NSSF website and go look through SHOT Show attendees and look for the media. There's a whole media section, and that's pretty much how you do it. Chris Bullis says, and I think some other people asked this question: are they going to get SHOT Show out of Vegas?
They're signed up for a few more years at that location. So
Mm-hmm.
they do a contract which goes into years ahead.
Yeah, they
So
can't break it just because of this, right?
I wouldn't think so. No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not. It'd be nice if
Mm-hmm.
they went back and forth. To be quite honest with you, because a lot of people in this side of the country
Mm-hmm.
don't go over there. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the smaller places and smaller shops, they don't. I've heard people. I don't like Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas is expensive, and it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, you know,
Yeah.
if you're gonna, I mean, you can go on the cheap to Vegas, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna eat, and you're gonna eat anywhere near the Strip, it's not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So
No.
no.
No. That's
Yeah.
another thing, man. Like, what's the restaurant situation going to be? Because a lot of people
Oh
leave the
yeah.
show floor and go off to a restaurant to have a little
Straight to
meeting.
straight to dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, they. I mean, we do it too. You
Look at
probably
this.
have breakfast. What is that? Hold on a sec.
uh,
I don't know if you can.
I don't hear nothing.
Do you hear something?
That dun 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 dun.
Okay, hold on a second. There's something. There's something playing here that I'm trying to figure out what the hell it is.
I hear some bumping noises. You listen to some rap or something? Some Megan Stallion or whatever the heck her name is.
Yeah, give me
Megan
a
the
second
Stallion.
here.
Okay.
I can't. There's some stupid video playing, and it's so annoying. I
This
don't
is
know
not dead
what
air.
that is.
We are still here. We're
Yeah.
just waiting
Give me
for
a
him to.
second here. I'm trying to figure out what the heck. what the heck this is. Oh, here it goes. Oh, for crying out loud. That was recoil. I have a recoil
Oh,
article open here. Did you guys
oh
hear
yeah.
that?
I didn't hear. I heard some thumping noises. That's all I
Oh
heard.
yeah, you could probably hear it in my headset. Yeah, that was a. I have a recoil article that we were going to talk about, but it has one of
Oh,
those stupid autoplay things, which is totally
oh
annoying.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. Jerry Parker says
DCG
I heard.
44S says autoplay porn. Uh,
No, that was Recoil magazine. I could show it to you.
okay.
I'm not like Jeffrey Tubin. Okay. Isn't that the guy? You know who I'm talking about?
Je- Jeffrey too.
Oh, here, let me see. I will find this article for you. So, you didn't hear of the Jeffrey Tubin? He's one of the CNN guys.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Stroking it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on leave from CNN, but he was doing something else with another news outlet, and he was on a Zoom call, and he thought that he took off his camera or whatever, and he was just he was doing a desk pop, so to
He was
speak.
whacking his pee-pee, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I don't know, choking the chicken, whatever you guys want to call it. I don't know. Tell us right now what's your favorite saying for that. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It amazes me how these people are supposed to be so smart and
yeah.
this that and
Get
the other.
if you gotta handle the business, don't hit little but shut the whole program down.
Go in another room.
Take everything off. This is so silly. So he's over there handling it
Whack.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And the people, can you imagine people on the Zoom call like, hey, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, that's funny. And I'm sure very embarrassing.
Uh,
Yeah. So you
maybe.
guys tell us right now, just put it in there. What's your favorite word for that?
Flogging
Yeah.
the dog, Armin actually
Yeah,
says.
Chuck the Smurf. Chuck the Smurf. Oh my lord.
Spanking the monkey.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Snapping one off. Gun guys need to call it desk popping. CB said five knuckle shuffle. Pet the lizard. You guys are so. Yeah, see, it's not just me. It's not just me out there.
No.
Oh boy, badgering the witness from YNH. Oh boy, yeah, the code words that dudes come up for stuff is so stupid. Oh boy, waxing the carrot from Night Train.
Yep, I heard that. Yeah, yep, yep.
Oh boy, yeah,
Oh well.
yeah. So,
Beat to the skeet skeet.
yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was from
Oh
Rodney Brady.
yeah.
So,
No, I was going to say about SHOT Show 2
mm,
is inside, for those who haven't been there, inside the Palazzo and the Venetian, they have bars and restaurants. And a lot of times in the morning before the show, these companies rent the whole room or the whole restaurant, and they have meetings and breakfast, and
hmm
then they have dinners at night, and
hmm
then they have happy hours at the bars and stuff. So I don't know how you're going to do all that and have any kind of real fun
hmm
when it's got all these stupid rules attached to it. It's just not fun. So
yeah, and a lot of gun guys make these deals at the bar over drinks. Not, I don't
yeah,
even
I
know
mean,
how they remember the deal. They're
if one guy does the lines on the mirror and the other guy gets close, aren't you going to get infected? Come on.
yeah,
what,
sometimes.
what's the
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see, but I'm saying that now it looks less likely that it's actually going to happen. Although I already have my media, Lola and I have media passes
uh,
already.
our tables are all paid for, the rooms reserved, everything. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not gonna. It won't break my heart one little bit.
yeah. Shout out
Um,
to everyone out there. Steve Dave says they made me watch two ads before the video started. Rubbish. Let me guess, political ads. Something from what's her name? What
was
is?
it was it was it Biden giving that little black boy his pin off of his jacket or something?
Uh,
Did you
who
see that one
knows?
where the
Yeah.
boy points at it and then he goes, "Oh, here you go, son,"
No.
like this or
I
whatever,
I went out. Man, they hit you with those things for everything, and I just roll my eyes the whole time. So I don't even pay attention to what they're saying.
Yeah, it's
Um,
bullshit.
but yeah, that's what they're up to. But listen, like I said, as you guys are coming in now, please smash the thumbs ups. Okay, that helps us. So as you guys are coming in, smash the thumbs up. Somewhere here along the line, we should get Jeremy of XTech joining us, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see.
All thumbs calls it tickle the pickle.
Tickle the pickle.
Tickle the pickle.
Yeah. What was that, Lola? Yeah, Lola says he should be on. He should be coming on around 8. He has like some car issues. So yeah, we're still getting, you know, let's see, bubble. John Doe says bubble for everyone. You know it's happening. Oh my gosh, if you got to get into a spacesuit to go. Chris Winslet wants to know. Plus, how long does it take you to plan for the show, Walt, or the other manufacturers?
Well, to be honest with you, I have not thought one bit about the SHOT Show. And normally about this time of year, we're trying to get things together, new stuff to have at the SHOT Show, because you like to bring new things to SHOT. At this moment, I ain't got nothing new.
Yeah. So, I mean, and, I often tell people that these podcasts that we do are kind of like little meetings that we have with each other and other people in the industry. Probably, Walt, if there's not going to be a SHOT Show, even if you don't have new stuff, we'll probably do some stuff around that time. We'll get some videos or we'll go live.
Oh yeah. I can. You got to remember, and it's something I forget about because I've been doing this for quite a while. Every day in this country, there's thousands of new gun owners. Mm-hmm. They get old enough, depending on where you live, to purchase a firearm. So they've been watching the videos and watching this, and there's new people every day. And when you, like I said, you get kind of jaded after a while, and you forget about every day. There's new folks that have never heard about your stuff. So, yeah. So it's time to maybe do some like refreshing of the people's memories about all the products, the wonderful things that safety of our firearms makes.
Yeah.
So.
we will figure out. We'll do something, right? Like maybe now. I don't know if I'm gonna go live. It depends on what it is, right? Because if we go live, we can't handle firearms because they've got a problem with that.
That ain't no fun.
Unless we all have orange guns, and yeah, that's not fun for SHOT Show. But maybe what I'll do is I'll set up, like I'll use the system without going live and do some calls with different companies and stuff like that if they're interested in doing that, and we'll show whatever the new things are. We're just gonna have to overcome and adapt for whatever happens with the whole deal.
Oh, look at Brian Quick. He's like, it's funny you mentioned that, Brian Quick, about titanium, because we were just chatting about that in the shop the other day. But there's nothing that I'm going to do titanium cast stock, so don't get your hopes up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were just kind of goofing off about that, saying that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Matt Morrison wants to know what you paid for your parkerizing setup.
Okay, my parkerizing setup. Okay, if you're going to park right, first thing you got to have a blasting cabinet or somehow to sandblast. Right? Okay. Secondly, you need some tanks made out of stainless steel, depending on how big of things you're going to do. If I do big things, so I have long tank of 48 inches or whatever. You don't need that if you're doing small stuff. Stainless steel. They got to be stainless. You need a tank afterwards to cool things off. Put it in water. I mean, you can run it underneath water, like in a sink. That'll work too. And then it needs to go into oil or be oiled. I mean, whether you spray it on with a spray thing or you dip it, we dip it in it. It's made for parkerizing. It displaces the oil. It's got like a mil spec for 1 year for rust prevention. And that's pretty much it. You got to buy the parkerizing solution, which you can get in small bottles. Like you can sell it in Brownells, or I buy it in 5-gallon jugs. And then, we add it. And one thing about the park tank is, you can set it up and do parkerizing. You can pour that parkerizing liquid, which is basically water and the manganese phosphate and a little bit of acid that's in it. You can pour it back in a jug and keep it and use it over and over and over. Even if the water evaporates out, you can add more water. Now it'll get to a point where you've used up all the manganese phosphate in the solution, and you'll start to get a crappy park job, and you just got to add more parkerizing solution. But I've got some zinc. Now there's manganese phosphate, which gets you that more black finish, and then there's zinc parkerizing. Zinc will give you that more gray finish. I've got some zinc liquid that I bought probably 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and I used it once or twice, and it's sitting in a jug, and it's still good. So, but if you're doing small stuff, you can do it on a small scale, and it's not that expensive. And as far as sandblasting goes, you can do that with a a Harbor Freight handheld thing. Just make sure you wear a mask. You don't suck up all that dust and stuff. But yeah, it's not that bad. I've seen people parkerize on top of their stove. I know. Just don't do it when the wife's around because it could get a little stinky. But
yeah, and don't use the don't use the good dishes.
Yeah, you need a stainless steel pot. Yeah, don't use your wife's best stainless steel pot to parkerize in, probably. But it probably wouldn't affect it that much, really. But
yeah,
just don't get caught doing it. That's all.
Yeah, DCG44 says SHOT Show with no live broadcast. Just skip it. Usually, if we go live from SHOT Show, we do it on Facebook. So, like, if for us, if you guys really want to do, like, I don't use Facebook to do this. I use YouTube. But if we really had to, I guess we could do it live through Facebook. I just don't know how many people actually use Facebook. So we do everything on YouTube. But we'll see. We need to see. Like, NSSF needs to come out with some guidance on this of whether they're actually having the show, who's going to be able to go, all of that stuff.
Yeah. There's a question in the chat. Born to be a Shooter asks if you can convert a 338 Savage Lapua into a 300 Win Mag power that kind. Yeah, you should be able to. I mean, 338 is a serious caliber. It's on the same level as 300 Win Mag as far as power goes. Yeah, and the Savage, you might be able to just buy a barrel and swap out the barrel on the Savage. So it should be very similar. You'd have to check the bolt head for the how big the rear of the case is, but I think it's very close to being the same. So.
Yeah. Len Holt says, I saw a neat approach. They filmed what they were talking about, then replayed it on the live show and commented in chat. Yeah, I mean, we could do that. I could always run in stuff from someone's website, from Instagram or any other places.
It's just a lot of extra editing work, though. Yeah, I mean, if I want to film me handling guns earlier, I have to, do that, and I have to kind of do it in a somewhat orderly fashion. And then I got to give it to you, or you're going to chop it up and take out what you want. And hopefully I'm not too much of an ass when I'm doing it. And but yeah, it's a lot of extra work when you could just pick it up and go, hey guys, here's check it out. It's like
we'll figure out a way. I just think that the SHOT Show people need to give guidance of what exactly is going to happen. And then I'm assuming a bunch of companies are not going to go. They're going to limit whoever's going to go if they're doing it. It's going to be really uncomfortable, and I don't know who. So for like us, sometimes we go to SHOT Show and people bring us there, which I always tell you guys that this company or that company brought us to SHOT Show. Most of the times we go there on our own dime. We pay for that, or you guys who support us on Patreon, you're paying for us to go out there. I don't know if that's worth it. I don't know if it's worth it to go out there and have all these restrictions, and I don't know if you guys are going to get anything out of that. And I think it's up to the firearms industry to figure out what's going on here and then come up with solutions, just like other industries have done, and they've come up with workarounds. So, and one of them's called the internet, and people could do Zoom stuff as long as they're not choking the chicken or rubbing out the sausage or whatever people were calling it before.
Or looking for a glory hole. Anyways.
Yeah. Elster says, after watching, I'm not going to say who he says here, but watching them pick up firearms nonstop during a live YouTube broadcast, I'm wondering if YouTube is still monitoring live events. And whoever does, they do it all the time. I know for a fact that YouTube is still monitoring us. So, I mean, if we actually do it, they've pulled us or deleted things later and all of that. Maybe they're not watching everyone. So, I don't know how they could possibly keep an eye on everyone out there.
Well, so, yeah, I mean,
I don't know what the deal is with that. And we maybe have to invest some time in figuring out another way of doing all of this so we could go back to showing stuff.
I think, like I said, I had my idea for the ginormous chair, and I sit in it, and the guns just spin around me, or I move it around. Look at you, look over here, look at that one, look at that one.
By the way, let's see. Tyven Show is showing off his 338 Lapua. Let's share that there. Look at that beastie.
Yeah, he was out shooting. He posted that on, I think it was
And oh, I
Instagram, or
think I see Fort
Facebook.
Scott right there. Look at that.
Yeah.
Fort Scott. Yeah. Oh, nice. Use that Hank Strange Hank 10 code.
Save 10%.
Yeah, boom. There you go. Very cool.
Yeah, my main concern about shot is, first thing, having to wear a stupid face mask, and secondly, just how do you control how are you going to regulate the volume of people that are in
Yeah.
and out and going all over the place? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Brian Quick says YouTube isn't watching Hank. They just lied about that to scare you into submission. Yeah, we've already been on air and gotten kicked off, so live. It's happened several times. So if you remember, there was a time when Reed was on, and I told him before we started, but he just got up to show how he carries appendix or whatever, and the minute he pulled it out, I was like, oh, here we go. And I think we had like 10 seconds, and then boom, we were out of there. So I don't really know how they're doing, what they're doing. It's possible that there's an algorithm watching, and if the algorithm identifies something, a person comes in, and then that person looks at it or whatever, makes a decision. It's just one of these things. Maybe they don't care about some people doing it. So we'll see. I don't think they went all the way to talking to me about it to not do it, but we know they've done it. Like sometimes they've deleted the show after, like the time with Walter when he showed, he was showing a stock and they said it was done and they deleted it later.
Wooden stock, yeah.
Yeah. But we've had several times while we were on that they did that as well. So. And if you remember the time with Reed, the reason why we were able to keep going is because I used this software and it pulled us, and then I was able to push it back. So James Miller says Such did a live stream recently and was shut down too. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know this for sure, but it would seem like they're targeting the gun channels more than they would target, say, a mini bike channel and the guy happens to pick up a gun. Mm-hmm. That's not gonna. They're not watching those guys. Or if you're talking about cutting wood and
Yeah, there might be people who they tagged, right? And
I'm sure that.
Let's keep an eye on these guys.
I'm sure we're probably on the list.
Yeah.
So
well, I don't think they talked to me with all those lawyers for no reason. I'm pretty sure they didn't take. Imagine what those lawyers were getting paid an hour, right? So if they had that conversation with me, they weren't messing around.
They're probably staff lawyers. They're probably
So I'm still sure they're getting a lot of money. I mean, in San Francisco, like a studio apartment is about $4,000 or $5,000 a month.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
yeah.
So anyway, we'll see. We'll see what comes out of all of that. We'll see what happens. Look, we're at 100. We've got close to 100 people here right now. Smash the thumbs ups. Do what you guys can do. We will figure all of this out. We are monitoring it and keeping an eye on it. Let's see. What other stuff do you want to... Anything else out there that, that we want to get into? Any stories catching your fancy?
Do you
want to see the recoil thing I was looking at?
What were you talking about?
This is on Recoil Review. CZ USA Scorpion Bullpup Kit. So that's what I was looking at on.
Is that the over here, Manticore Arms thing?
Let's see. Let's see. Yes, Manticore Arms. And they're talking about it here, and it looks like we got some pictures. Let's see if we can go to this. Yeah. It looks good. I think this is a good-looking kit.
There's a mugshot of Bill Cosby on Fox News. Okay, I'll look at the gun. Where is it at?
Yeah. It's on the Recoil web. Here, let me see. I will share. I'll share a thing with you. Let me go back here for a second if I can get out of this. I'll share this with you and the folks out there. So we can all. Oh man! And it kicked off this silly thing all over again. And it unmutes itself. That's the thing about Recoil. They have the money to get the special app that unmutes itself, so it can annoy the crap out of you.
Yeah, that stuff. I hate that. You'll be
Um,
sitting there and you thought you had it turned off, and the next thing you know, all of a sudden it's on full
yeah,
blast. Yeah.
yeah. So there it goes. By the way, I was looking at the torture test that Mac did of the Scorpion. Did anyone see that?
I did not know.
It was cool. I thought it was cool. I think it didn't really get that far through the like the gauntlet. He just test fires the thing first with nothing, then he goes through one time and that's the first thing. Then he keeps going through
Okay.
until something happens. And I think so. After he went through the one time and started over again, I think somewhere in the mud it got jammed up.
Oh.
That was the thing. But a lot of people got mad at him and they were calling him names and stuff like that, which he was in the chat talking about the other day. So,
Why you? Okay.
I know
Okay. If it
you don't
don't.
like people doing this stuff.
No, 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 not that. No, 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 no. I mean,
Okay.
okay. If you don't like something somebody did, why do you got to start calling them names? I mean,
People nowadays.
what's the? Okay, you can say that sucked, blah blah blah. But why do you got to
Yeah.
like get like?
But he also says this for entertainment purposes, which I agree
Uh,
with. Also, I personally like to know where something breaks. It doesn't mean that you're going to use your Scorpion like that, but it's good to know where it breaks at or where it runs into problems.
yeah, I mean,
What's wrong with that? I mean, it could happen. Things like that could
long
happen.
long as you treat every single gun that you test the same way.
Hmm.
If you get every one and you drop the dirt in it and it does the same thing, or you
That's what he
drop it in the
does.
water and you drop the dirt in and you treat everyone the same, then it's cool.
Yeah, also, he showed that once he washed it off, it was fine
It
again.
was fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so.
I have news for you. If you dump a bunch of sand inside most guns, at some point they will stop. I,
It doesn't take a lot of sand for a lot
I
of
mean,
guns. So,
that's life in the big city. That's what it is, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Let me get this from Stephen Harmon because he was asking this before. He says, thoughts on flood of Turkish guns, MP5s, XD clone, Beretta clone, MMP clone. Are they turning into the China of the 1980s imports? Question mark.
Way higher quality than Chinese imports of the 1980s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
The Turkish, way higher quality.
yeah.
For any of you people that weren't buying guns in the 80s from China, I was.
Mm-hmm.
And there was not a huge selection. They made copies of Tokarev. They made copies of the Makarov. Oh, it got quiet, didn't it?
No, I can hear you.
No, I did it on purpose. There was only a couple guns,
Oh,
a couple pistols that got imported from China back in
mm-hmm.
the 80s.
Okay.
And they
The
did, it
Makarov,
was
the Tokarov, the Paparov, Sakharov. Just put
military guns.
Yeah. Okay. Uh huh.
Yeah, they weren't doing injection molding and all this stuff like Glocks and all that stuff back then.
Right.
They had basic guns, metal
Mm-hmm.
guns, um, and
Mm-hmm.
AKs and SKSs.
Yeah.
Now they did import some 22 Browning copies, and they imported some of the other commercial knockoff guns back then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, pistol wise, it was a very small variety,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing, for the most part, nothing Western. Oh, excuse me, I stand corrected. They made 1911s, and the
Okay. So, are you
1911s.
seeing these new MP5s and all that kind of stuff that Steven's talking about? Like
Well,
the MP5 clones, Beretta clones, M&P
yeah,
clones.
they even cloned the AK shotguns and stuff in
Mm-hmm.
Turkey, and
Mm-hmm.
all those bullpup looking shotguns that they bring in now. That's
Yeah.
all. Yeah,
But not all
yeah.
of them are working. Like we tried a couple of those. The magazine fed ones don't work so awesomely all the time.
Well, yeah.
So,
I bet,
yeah.
but for the most part, they're pistols. The
Yeah.
knockoffs, the Brownings, they all run pretty well.
Magazine fed stuff like that doesn't work that great here. Like the ones that
Canic,
people are making here don't work that great. So,
Canic.
or a
Everybody
lot
likes.
of them you need, what is it called? High brass? You need high brass or
Yeah, you
something?
need high power rounds. Yeah,
Yeah, or
yeah.
low. You either need low brass, high brass, some kind of
High
special.
brass, high
Yeah,
brass, high
whatever's the
brass.
cheap brass stuff that you get from Walmart and
Walmart.
stuff does not work in a lot
Yeah,
of the ones here. So, and that's just the thing. Like the Fostech doesn't use the cheap stuff at all. You got to use the expensive stuff, and typically like slugs and stuff like that.
well, higher
So
power.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think that's just the nature of that stuff. Chris Winsett says, "Bullpup or Bill Cosby."
Bullpup.
I'm gonna say the same thing. I really don't. I've got no No thought.
But Bill Cosby is a fine example of
Hmm.
he came out and he pissed off enough people, and all these people knew about Bill Cosby and what he was doing for years.
Hmm.
But once he crossed that line and started attacking these people politically,
Hmm.
they threw him to the wolves, so to speak. So just that's a fine example because he was known for doing what he was doing before he got busted.
Right.
So
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. I mean, I think
and,
there's a lot of hypocritical stuff in Bill Cosby if you really look at it. I enjoyed the Bill Cosby show. I thought it was great to see. You know what? Even when I was younger, I didn't like all the misery that I saw in a lot of TV shows. So I think like back in the 70s when they were putting black people in TV shows, they were all miserable and broke. Now, I'm not saying that's not true or reflective of what's going on, right? Because I was pretty miserable and broke back then when I was looking at those things. But you don't want to, I don't look at any kind of entertainment to wallow in my misery.
yeah,
So I didn't like that kind of stuff. And that's why I like The Cosby Show, for example. Go ahead, Walt.
that's like when I go to the movies, I don't go to see stuff to make me sad. I don't want to go to see a movie and be sad.
No.
I want to
It's,
be entertained.
yeah.
There's serious stuff, but I don't want it to be dark
Yeah.
and
Movies are supposed to be escapist. This is why I like sci-fi stuff. And I want to
yeah.
see beautiful women when I go to the movie. If I look at a movie and it's a freaking sausage fest, not interested, sir. Okay.
Well, I hope not. Yeah.
Not interested in a sausage fest movie with only dudes in it. No, thank you. Like
No,
all
we're
those
not.
prison escape movies. Oh, here's these dudes trying to get. No, not
Yeah,
interested.
yeah.
you know. I would like to see the finer sex in a movie when I'm looking at it, and I want to see beautiful women when I'm looking at a movie.
It doesn't hurt nothing. Doesn't hurt
Yeah,
nothing.
I think we got Jeremy getting set up right now, coming on.
Okay.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
So, yeah, we
Yep.
can hear you. I don't see your video yet.
All right, let me keep working on that.
Yeah. So, yeah, so that's my thing with movies. While Jeremy's doing that, I'll take another question. Black Sword Shinobi says, Hank, when you gonna shoot the Bullpup 50? Maybe never. That's the
Never,
best
probably.
honest answer I can give you on that one, Black Sword. I think that first of all, that one that I did a picture of was not working. It was not a running prototype, and I don't know when those guys are gonna have a running prototype. Plus, I believe there's some behind the scenes drama on that. And once I
There's
posted that picture, I got lots of the drama alerts.
so in other words, there's a very large backstory to that picture.
Yeah. So now that's not going to stop me. If someone had a working 50 cal bullpup, I don't care what kind of drama was getting dropped. I'm going to probably shoot that thing. If someone says to me, "Hey Hank, you want to shoot this?" I think I'm gonna definitely shoot it. So we're getting Jeremy set up here. Yeah, you wanna the light needs to face you, Jeremy. There you go. So, that's we'll see what happens with that. I hate the drama to get in the way of the gun existing in the world, but sometimes that's what happens in the gun world.
All too often, right?
Yeah. Let's see. And Stephen Harmon says, I'm looking for information on a Turkish handgun. It's the Gerzan MC18, trying to figure out what mag it uses. It looks like Smith & Wesson 59 series mags.
I don't know on that one. Not for sure.
Yeah. And Stephen Harmon says, so Hank doesn't like Blood In, Blood Out. What's Blood In, Blood Out? Is that a movie? I'm assuming it is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't like where they have every movie and they have the hottest freaking girls in the movie and they're all lesbians. It just doesn't do anything. It just as a thing to say, hey, the whole world's full of lesbians, which it isn't. But, that's one thing I don't care for. So
yeah. So I don't know. Someone's trying to say something about RTX voice cancels background noise from your own mic and your guests. so I'm not sure what that is. Jeremy, if you can, you're like in the middle of the. You're a little off center. We can only see half of your face. There you go. Boom.
Sorry,
There he
my
goes.
doing the flooring in my office, so I get the backyard. Luckily, we're in Arizona where it's kind of perfect right now. So,
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool, man. What's up?
man, been busy. Life's good though. We can't complain. Wish we could get more inventory so we could ship more stuff, but as a whole, everything's positive on business side. Obviously, it's impossible not to have some anxiety about the political things happening, what's happening in our country here. But family's healthy, business is healthy, so all good
Good.
on that front.
Yeah, good to hear, man. I know you had some like car issues or something like that. Lola was telling me. Did you get everything worked out?
I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I did not realize. I've never owned a monster truck before. I didn't realize you couldn't just go to like Big O and get tires and leave. So had a bit more of an adventure to
Yeah.
sign up for.
Not everyone has the machines to put those
So the tires
tires.
are there, I guess, right?
Uh,
Yeah, I didn't
hmm.
know. So new lesson learned. I was never looking for a monster truck. Just right deal happened. So now we've
Yeah.
got an obnoxiously large truck.
Yeah. Axpa Warrior wants to know what part of Arizona are you in? He's moving out there soon, he says.
Awesome, man. Well, welcome. I'm in Chandler personally.
Chandler.
We're actually moving locations right now for XTech, so we'll be in somewhere along the 101 on the east side, Tempe, Chandler, Mesa there.
Okay, very cool. Um, let's see. I don't know if there are any other questions. Walt, if you've got anything, feel free. If
Yeah.
you guys have questions for Jeremy, you want to tell the folks, you make magazines, right? You do a couple of other things, but you guys make magazines.
Correct. Yeah, so we're known for our AK mags. We actually just released, and I think we sent a couple out to you of our Speed mag,
Mm-hmm.
which is easy 30 round easy loading AR-15 mag. It's been a long time coming, but that product's now in the market and shipping. So
Mm-hmm.
distributors should have stock of that in the next couple of weeks, and but you can order off our website now. I'll grab one here in a minute. I meant to bring one outside with me, but I'll show folks kind of how it works. But
Okay. Yeah.
super simple product.
Yeah, I think that I think that the particular ones that got sent out here, I know I tried to do it live one time on air. That didn't work out so great. My thing, I would say you definitely have to practice using those.
Sure.
I
Yeah, if
would
you want
say
to
for
be
sure.
fast,
Hmm.
it takes some practice. If you just
Hmm.
want it to be easier and load one or two at a time, then that just kind of is obvious. But if
Hmm.
you want to set speed records, it definitely takes some coordination, practice, and that kind of thing. But I mean, I think
Yeah.
the record right now is 36 seconds from a closed box of ammo to a loaded mag. So
Okay.
pretty quick, if you think about it.
Hmm.
But yeah, we just think that's kind of a fun product. Uh, Other than that, our extender line is going to be growing dramatically here
Hmm.
in the next couple weeks, and then into SHOT Show February next year. So the extenders have been a huge hit for us, and so we've kind of doubled down on that, making some investments into that space, and um, yeah, that's kind of what we're up to.
Okay. Let's see. We've got a question from Brick. Says, with the resurgence of 545, is XTech going to make some good 545 magazines? That's always
So
awesome.
we would love to.
Hmm.
If I had $1 for every time I got asked that question, I would have paid for the tooling by now, I think. But yeah, with that said, we'd love to. Is the short answer. To be honest, with a lot of our business case is based on the volume from the likes of Palmetto and Riley and companies like that have moved into making production 545 rifles. However, with the challenges we've all had in this industry with supply chain this year, those rifles really haven't taken any hold in the marketplace. The one I did see coming in now is our buddies at IWI are now importing the 545 Galil. But
Hmm.
long story short, if
Really?
we see 10,000 plus rifles a year being sold in the U.S. market,
Hmm.
then we can make a business case to spend $250,000 to $300,000 in the tooling to make one. But until then, it's in my mind, I wouldn't be solving a problem
Hmm.
because I'd have to sell the magazines at $40 plus, and that's kind of where they are right now. So we
Hmm.
only like to do things if we actually believe in the solution we're providing to the market.
Yeah, and I think at this point, is there Is there a massive demand on magazines? Because I know I've gone out to stores and they seem to have magazines in stock. Is there a magazine run of any sort going on?
There there has been. It's kind of been hit and miss. Obviously, the likes of Magpul and like it or not, the Pro Mags of the world, right? Most retailers it's kind of depending on their inventory levels. But we'll get a call every other week. Can I buy everything you have? And I wish I had more. So there's definitely still enough demand there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there could be all of a sudden a massive rush. I
Mhm.
know how long ago was that we had we almost got Freedom Week again in Cali.
Yeah, that was probably about 2 months ago now. I
Yeah.
want to say
Yeah.
beginning of August maybe.
Hmm.
And we were, scrambling like mad. We accepted some pre-sales and trying to get Freedom out there. Now it's kind of an unknown deal. It's kind of like, we still have our legal battle we've talked about in the past is still going on, and with coronavirus, it's kind of just, you know, um, it's the courts are not, now it's you kind of, I hate to say it, but you kind of feel like if you're involved in a suit, the courts now kind of have an excuse to let
Hmm.
They're
things,
drag they're dragging their feet on purpose.
yeah, yeah. So we're still in that battle, and but with the California side, at the same time, you don't wish anyone to pass, but obviously, what's happened in the Supreme Court is potentially very strong news for us as an industry and us as a Second Amendment community. However, Supreme Courts don't write the laws, right? They're
Hmm.
not, and so I think we've just got to rally stronger as a group than ever, and protect our rights. Anyone that's passive about their rights, you know, um, isn't going to get sympathy from me, right? So you got to be active in fighting for your rights, especially
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, and as we've seen, the Supreme Court doesn't necessarily take up two-way cases.
Right.
So, I mean, I think it is a good thing if we get Barrett on the Supreme Court, which we should be getting. I think it's just formality now. They just need to do the votes, if I'm not mistaken. So, I think that in the
Right.
long run, that could be a good thing, regardless of what happens. But ultimately, we have to have them take up stuff for it to mean anything. And yes, we have to keep fighting, for it. And ultimately, we even all have to come to a point where we just stop complying with nonsense.
Absolutely. And my opinion of the Amy Coney Barrett deal is, there's no negative to come from it. If you believe in the Constitution, that's a huge step. Obviously, what happens next, is an abundant question mark. But yeah, there's no downside to having someone that believes in the Constitution and believes in the judicial role on the Supreme Court for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if Walter has any questions. There is a question from Bricks. Bricks says, "Can he explain tooling for us? I've often heard that, but I don't understand the process of making a magazine."
Absolutely. So I don't keep it a secret. In addition to XTech's products, I came in the industry through the means of injection molding. So tooling something I know, and I've spent way more than I ever wanted to in my life on tooling. But basically, to build a magazine or a plastic component, most plastic components in the firearm space are going to be injection molded. The benefit is you've got very high repeatability. You've got a reasonable cost to manufacture, and the downside being the cost for the tooling itself, which is the mold that produces the plastic flows into in the injection molding machine. And in magazines, if you build it the right way with metal reinforcement like we do, there's no way around it to not spend $250,000.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, because you're doing the molds for the injection molding. You've got to do the sheet metal in parts that go in there. You're going to have a base plate, which most of the times could be plastic, but it can be sheet metal too, like this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is sheet metal. Yeah, and then you have a follower, and then you got lots of springs.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly. I mean, springs, it's funny. It's like I'll be talking about other projects and, maybe for other folks in the firearms industry. And, I'll talk to a new vendor and maybe in a machine shop. And they're like, well, that's going to be expensive tooling. And I kind of just smirk on the phone with them like, throw me your hundreds of dollars or $3 or $5 grand, and I'll smile about it. Right. So it's,
Mm-hmm.
it's so incredibly painful to, from a CapEx standpoint. I mean, obviously it's what we're in the business of, but even a smaller company like XTech is well, into millions of dollars in tooling that we've paid for at this point. So it's just, it's a hurdle. And, Obama's administration, we're all for making stuff in the U.S., but the Obama administration expanded what falls under ITAR to make it so you can't tool outside the U.S. even if you wanted to. Now, there's an exception to that. There is a process you can go through, but, unless you're actively in space. So, for that reason, my long-term plans is to acquire our own tool shop and be able to build molds in-house and reduce some of those costs and reduce some of the speed to market times.
Yeah. There's also, I'm not sure, I was bouncing around here, but I think, did you mention actual development and testing of those things and, going in there and making adjustments, changes, and things like that? Like Walter was talking about springs.
Sure.
That's usually a place changes have to be made.
Yeah, so soup to nuts on the project. If you were, someone on your couch and you had an idea for a novel magazine, right? We'll kind of come at it from that angle. If you have something you're going to patent, then on top of that, if it's a utility patent, you've got like our Speed Mag, for instance, you've got another, $10,000 to $25,000 by the time your patent's issued, just in the patent process. Product design side, just to get the CAD and 2Ds and understanding the tolerancing stack ups, you're looking at $10,000 to $30,000 there. We do that in-house, so that's not a hard cost for us per se. My business partners are both amazing engineers. And then from there, you'd have your prototyping, testing. Obviously, cost of ammo adds up. It becomes a painful number, especially in times like this where you thought you were sitting on plenty of ammo. Then we actually had to go buy some different types of ammo recently, and we're paying close to what people watching this are paying because you just can't get it right now. So for a magazine all in, if you added up all those numbers, it's not hard to get to closer to $500,000 versus the numbers I just shared. Now, not all mags are the same. For instance, a Glock magazine is going to be a lot less expensive because you don't have that angle you have to pull out. So basically, injection mold is going to be the negative of the part. So if you look at the world through the eyes of a negative, that core, there's got to be steel up in there that has a hydraulic actuation to pull that out. And there's a lot of cost to that action. So, whereas in a Glock mag, it's a straight core that comes out. So you can save some money there.
Yeah. So my question follow-up of that would be, you have one mold and you're producing all the magazines off of one mold, or do you make multiples? Because although, I'm
Sure.
guessing that would speed up the time if you had multiple ones that you were pulling from, right?
Absolutely. And that's, I could talk for, days on end about the pros and cons and the different types of tooling. The same part you could build 10,000 different molds for when you get into the details of how you build a tool. In our case, we have just a single mold for our AK-47 mags, just a single mold for our, for our Speed Mag. So our stuff is mostly singles and just one tool at this point. Where you get into the Glock world and you get into the standard kind of AR type mags, then you get into a world of, it's kind of like people ask me about 545. Well, if I owned 100% of the country's 545 mag marketplace, it still wouldn't be as big of a number as 5% of the Glock mag marketplace, right? So that's kind of the challenge. If you're me, you have to choose where to spend that capital. And obviously, if you're successful in your choice, you have more capital, then grow the line that much more. So, we'd love to, kind of be the heroes to the people. And that was a core part of the AK-47 mag project, where we looked at the demands of consumers and said, okay, we're going to spend the money and check all these boxes that everyone has been begging for. That feels great, but at the same time, you've got to be smart about where you spend your money. And obviously 7.62 is over 90% of the AK market. So, 545 is just it's a tough number to pencil without the active selling of currently produced AKs in the country.
Walter, did you want to add something there?
Well, in addition to everything else, you're competing against like this 545 mag from Bulgaria. And I forget what I paid for it, but it wasn't very much. It's a commercial Bulgarian magazine, so it's got steel, sheet metal on the bottom. I think it's got feed lips too. But I think it might have been $15. I don't know, something like that. So you got to take that in consideration too, and those are coming in by the container load. Uh,
Yeah.
And there's another new one on the market. It's AC Unity. I'm sure you're familiar with those guys out of Bosnia. They're bringing
Sure.
in mags and selling them for $8 to $10 a piece retail. So
Right.
it's like, it's hard to fire up a whole new project and jump into it when that stuff's already out there. I mean, it's like you have to weigh the, you know.
Well, we just need Tim Harmson to help us out on that, like he did on the 750.
Sell all the mags. Asper Warrior
Yeah.
says he's got a YouTube friend in Arizona who would probably love to do your video, a tour video, and learn about how that works. I was actually going to come there. I don't know if you were going to give me a tour of making the magazines or not, but my plan
Absolutely
this
was
year
planned.
was to come through. Yeah, it's just this this whole lockdown and all the other nonsense that goes along with it, I think, put the kibosh on that.
Yeah, but I think Hank, you've talked to me enough to know that, I'm all about spreading education, and even for the sense of, helping someone behind us that wants to come compete with us. I'm a firm believer in information sharing. We wouldn't be where we are without people offering that to me. So, there's certain things we can't share, but what we can, I'm all for it,
Yeah. And then I see that there's some people probably talking about price points there on that. Like Brian Quick says, 545 AK guys are pretty close to insane about their rifles, so they buy up, especially if under 30 per mag. I mean, if you factor in everything that we're saying here, where you're pretty much, it's house money, except you don't have 30 to 50 years to pay that back. I'm assuming you got to buy that thing up front.
Well, exactly, and really,
So
where we're at as a company, I think we've got, obviously the legal sides, it's paid a cost on us from a time standpoint, because we would have loved to spend that money on tooling for new projects, but where we're sitting, it's not a huge secret where we're really targeting the Glock market coming up here, and kind of a more traditional AR mag similar to our AK mag. We just, even though that market is from a high level, it looks very saturated. I don't personally feel like we've seen any innovation in that space since like the Magpul, PMag came out, right? And there's been minor updates. But like in the Glock space, my belief, and any competitors watching this, I'll be candid about it. I don't think there's any alternatives to Glock mags outside of, it's a factory mag or bust if you're going to actually count on it.
Right.
I've yet to see anyone offer a Glock mag that I would carry. So I think that space is open.
There's the clock mags, so the Korean clone ones, which don't drop free. There's a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah,
that
there's a bunch
of
guys in the U.S. that I won't name because I'm not in the business of bringing down our competitors. But it just seems like people have really geared towards marketing tactics, cool factor, versus rugged use that you can depend on, like our AK mags line really demonstrate. And same with our extenders, all our products, even our speed mag, when you get in with it, and for what it is, it's a lot more durable than anyone would expect. And we put a lot more effort into those processes than I think, most would argue is even justifiable, but we enjoy it. We make our own lives hard, but it's fun to do for sure.
Yeah. I would just ask everyone to be patient, and let XTech build its way up here. I think that's always a better thing, right? If you have guys innovating, you want to let them build their way up and make steps into everything so that they're actually here. On my part, we're gonna do some stuff. I think the last time you were on, I told you that we pretty much went all the way to destroying those AK mags to see what it takes to destroy them. And they're pretty tough, man. I think we shot one, and then we still put it back together and use it.
Yeah, I mean, from our standpoint, Murphy's Law is going to occur, right? Anyone that says something can't be broken is just lying. But the total returns for the Mag 47 and the Mag 47 line at this point are 2 for products that failed in the field, out of tens of thousands of mags. So. That's a pretty strong testimony. And I know both customers now personally. It was cool to get their stories about how it went down, and both of them were very, very dramatic events, right? But both great guys, and I think we got them as customers for life because we took good care of them. But yeah, it's just their products that last,
Yeah, Kathleen Music Lover said you made a Shield 9mm extension. There's a couple of different things that are out there. So I think a lot of this just takes time. And honestly, I don't know if we already said it, but in these times with everything going on, if you're a manufacturer, whatever you have that's in demand, instead of trying to develop new things and all of that, you probably need to just deliver that. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I mean, on the extender side, it's a really exciting business line for us to scale.
Hmm.
Um, the one I'll tease folks with that is already done. We had an issue because of COVID with getting some texturing done to the piece, but it's a +2 kit for the VP9 SK. Simple product,
Hmm.
but anyone that owns a VP9 SK or a P30 SK, you've got that like grip extender that's like that long, right? It adds no rounds.
Hmm.
We have something that's about 40% smaller and adds 2 rounds.
Hmm.
So our approaches to extending magazines are going to vary based on the firearm and based on what we think is the most logical deal. We started with the double stack BP9. Sorry, I got a mosquito messing with me. BP9 and then M&P full size.
Right.
It's the downside of living in a rainforest in Phoenix, right? But
Yeah.
or in
Yeah.
this.
If you listen, you probably have it good, man. If you were in Florida trying to sit outside right now, you're getting torn up.
Oh, oh man, it's yeah, we got a fig tree and a bunch of citrus trees back here, so the bugs are out.
Okay.
But yeah, so the extender line is something I'm really excited about scaling. My goal is every gun shop in America within 3 or 5 years, you see a whole section on the wall of what would make sense for that pistol, whether it's a +5 for a double stack or a +2 or 3 for a single stack. And now, of course, we've got some hybrid magazines out, and we are definitely close to entering that space in a big way. But really, I like the smaller pistols for extenders in particular because a lot of pistols, like Hank, you're a big guy.
Hmm.
If we walk around SHOT Show together, if all the heavily marketed smaller pistols like a Shield
Hmm.
or 365 or an SK, you can't get your hand on any of those, correct?
Hmm. Hmm.
So in addition to just saying, hey, let's up our clipazine status,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
In terms of liberals, you're also saying now I can actually handle the firearm.
Yeah.
And
I want a
those that have seen
30 I
our
want a 30 40 round magazine for every. So if I'm carrying a,
yeah,
if
I
I'm
mean,
carrying a 43, I want a 30 rounder. I'll just keep that in my back pocket.
exactly. In the Glock space, that market, is well established. It shocks me candidly
Hmm.
how the Glock market has really turned into the AR-15 market version 2.
Hmm.
I know that there's quite a few manufacturers I work with because I make a lot of plastic parts for other folks, and I'm
Hmm.
always helping other companies out. They were even talking about getting out of the AR space completely
Hmm.
prior to the COVID, et cetera,
Hmm.
2020 as a whole,
Hmm.
because they're like, look, the Glock market's that much hotter, our margins are that much stronger, and of course now, it doesn't matter if it's Glock or AR. If you have either or both, you're winning. But
Hmm.
that Glock market's become, just such a monstrous segment of the industry that
Hmm.
just baffles me.
Yeah.
But I think that we have some different technologies that high quality mags and extenders that should do well in that space once they're out.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
that's. Go ahead, Walt.
Okay. Expo Aspa Warrior was
Hmm.
asking about or talking about these guys, the
Hmm.
adjustable AR grip.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Been wanting to try it, he says. So
Yeah. There you
Yeah,
go.
we're selling gazillions of those again. It's been we've had years where we sold 6 figures in units of those, and we had years where we felt like we barely sold 5 figures of units, and then this
Hmm.
year it's now back to 5 figures a month. So that grip's been popular for years. I think the key reason why it hasn't been even more popular is that we haven't been able to get on as many high volume OEM manufacturers as we would have liked. I kind of learned the hard way that they want to buy a complete set from you, not just a grip. They don't want to piecemeal a firearm together. Smaller guys will, but the big fish, they want to buy
Stock and
a
the grip.
stock, a handguard, a mag, a
I
grip,
see.
trigger guard, all as one package. So
Okay.
it's a good grip. You'll love it. We've never had one break ever.
Hmm.
Some big names have tested it, and a big man is hung from a roof with it. So, or hung off a rope. We had a 320-pound guy hang off a rope, hanging onto the grip. So with the so
Okay.
they don't break. You'll dig them for sure if you're interested in trying them out.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Walter has one. I've got one. We need to slap that on something and see how that is, Walter.
I will. We will.
Yeah.
Coming up here.
Yeah, a little quick insight into like XTech. When I mentioned earlier, like I'm not interested in just making a product to make a product. We always have to see that we believe in the solution. So that product was actually, the mindset was, when you are a large agency and you want to commonize the uses of products, right? You want to buy for, let's say, the Marine Corps, right? One size doesn't fit all. We all know that, right? What your preference is versus mine versus Walter's versus everyone in the comments, we're all going to have unique preferences, and we're all going to have unique needs, right? Based on our body and based on our usage. So the idea there was those grip angles we didn't invent. They were popularized. They were, advantageous to different people or different situations. So it was really one size fits all for massive ordering groups was the mentality behind it. Because as your hand extends out, you're going to add more angle to it the further out your hand goes. So if you just do this exercise, right, put your hand out, you're going to have more angle there. As you bring it closer, it's going to that's natural ergonomics of your body. So anyway, there's a time and place. Even the same person, like I hit the 17, if I'm running like a pistol or something small with like a brace, I'm trying to shoot prone all the time, I run 25. That's kind of the deal there. But anyway.
Yeah. I think that is one of the problems overall in the industry, that everything, to go back to you talking about the smaller guns. A lot of those guns are designed for either really small dudes or women.
Absolutely. And a lot of people just, this, I know this, and I think as a manufacturer, I'm frustrated, and as a guy who, won't just say something it's not, before you talk about something, say more than it exists. You get your hands on it, you review it, and it's frustrating for some of us in that way, where you just see something popularized because of marketing, right? You don't see people actually going, I can't tell you how many people have called me and say, hey, the 365, everyone said it's awesome. I bought it, I can't get my hand on it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I definitely can't. It is a good gun, but I don't. Yeah, it just doesn't work for me with the. It just doesn't feel like enough. I'm not grabbing enough.
Right.
Which
so
I think is important.
We do have something coming for that in a couple weeks. So, if you can get your hands on one, I'll get one out to you to check out.
Yeah, I still have one. Lola likes it, but she's got little tiny hands. So.
Gotcha.
Right, I don't know, Walter. Do you probably have that same thing? You got big ham hooks, like
yeah,
I do.
But I carry a little pistol in my pocket, so myself, I realize that it's small, and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
If I throw a 30-round mag on it, it's not pocketed anymore.
Right.
You can't. That's where you got it. People say, "Oh, I want the big grip." Well, then you're going to sacrifice the compactness in a sense.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure, Walter. But that's why I was saying. That's why, like, in my opinion, I would like to have that as a backup magazine, like more capacity. As a backup or something.
Yeah.
I don't know about 30, but that's kind of the fun with the extenders. Right?
I'll take 30, 50, 100, whatever works.
Belt-fed adapter.
Okay, yeah. Looks like he's changing his setup here. So.
Sorry, my computer was beeping at me. I'm low power, so I got a cord plugged in.
Yeah.
Good to go now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so the extenders are actually a really fun project, honestly, because we look at each firearm and go, what should this be, right? And then the goal is to make it as close to factory in appearance, where it looks like, hey, man, this would have been cool if in the Shield case Smith & Wesson did it, or in the VP9SK H&K did it. That's kind of our goal. It's not just slap a piece of billet aluminum on it. It's pink or blue or green. And I understand people like Gucci stuff, but I personally don't. And I think you see it in our products, right? I like things that look tasteful, and that doesn't mean it's wrong, but that's just my thing. And I think the mass markets generally like things that look more factory driven.
Right.
Yeah. And I would say that to me, what I would like about something like that I've got backups in different places, right? So I actually have a Glock as a backup that I typically carry, like a Glock, Glock 19, all right? And I've got a 33 rounder with that, but on me right now I have a 43. But not everyone does that. But the thing with a bigger magazine that could work on something like that, you could always keep just the magazine in your car. You're not taking as big a risk as, oh, what happens if someone breaks in here and takes this thing, or a kid, whatever, right? Someone finds the magazine. Because it's separate from the gun, you have the gun on you. Now you need that thing, you could drop the magazine, put in a bigger magazine, have a better purchase on it, as well as more hot lead that you could spit down range.
To your point, Hank, I mean, I've never met someone or talked to someone who, uses a firearm for their career or has been forced to use a firearm, to defend themselves, and said, "Oh, I'm so bummed I had an extra mag that I didn't use," right? So, if you look at, it's funny, like I just swapping out trucks, I'm cleaning out my other truck, and it's a little silly, and we went on some big family road trips this year, 24-hour drives type things, and I'm just finding AK mags and VP9 mags and PPS mags and, any of my kind of common carry stuff. I mean, I think I got a total of like 64 magazines out of my truck that if you would have asked me how many I had, I probably would have told you 20, right? Yeah, it's just every spot you could hide one. But, I think a lot of us kind of forget that, I go in different environments where I carry, and a lot of times that little PPS mod too, I'm a lefty, I really like that pistol. But, is how far 7 rounds going to take you, right? And hopefully it'll do the job, but it doesn't hurt. Like my briefcase, I typically have 4 extra mags in here, and I'll walk into a corporate environment and, at least you got something.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good until, you're that person in your Prius that accidentally drives into a protest and those dudes decide to chase you down.
Well, especially now, right? I mean, now more than ever, the likelihood of us being involved in something with more than one threat is exponentially higher than it was, a year ago, right? So, and that's where the AK, is always in my truck. I keep an AK in my SUV. I keep an AK, and you gotta just, if you're taking a vehicle out, you gotta be somewhat ready, as ready as you can be. It's realistic, right?
Yeah. Walter, what are you saying? Smash the gas pedal?
I mean, if they're going to get you in your car, you just push the gas pedal.
Well, that's what this new truck's for, right?
You got a monster truck.
You don't stop to discuss things and talk about it. You just push the gas pedal.
Yeah.
Have you guys chatted about that absolutely ludicrous California video yet with that I don't remember what the person was, but someone jumped on a hood of
the police car.
The police car.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, that's...
that was
really.
Awesome.
What do you think the cop's going to come out? Like, excuse me, sir. Do you mind?
Great.
If
There's
you'd
a
be
mob
so kind as to get off my roof.
I'd like to give you a citation. Can I get your ID, please?
Yeah. Nope. But I think it didn't take that much. He wasn't even going that fast.
Nope, it just spun him right off.
He just slipped right, like friggin' Dukes of Hazzard style, right off that bad boy.
No, it's just it's wacky times right now, and I'm just it's made me want to. I don't know about you guys, but in what kind of setting? I've never been to your house, Hank, but I've had the desire to relocate to a more rural area just because I want to be further from any fight. When it comes to my family's safety, I'm not one to go looking for a fight. And the better I can protect them, the better off I am. But I think there's a lot of Americans that are thinking the same way, at least in my circle of. Get me out of the city, right?
Yeah, I live out in the country, so, and I love
you're already
it.
set up then.
Yeah, I think it's freaking awesome living out in the country. So, I mean, we all can't do it, and there's always pros and cons. Living out in the country, there's no good internet. I wish there was.
You probably don't have Amazon Fresh delivering groceries every day like we do.
No. I was watching Robski before I came on here, and he has the same problem too. People were asking him, "Why don't you do live videos anymore? Why don't you do live feeds?" He goes, "My internet sucks."
Yeah.
Because he lives out in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're spending a ton of money to have this, to rent this space here, and, pay all the bills associated with that in order to do this so that we could, do this and come out, and do this live thing all the time. But trust me, At the end of this night, Lola gets in her car, I get in my car, and we're driving for about 35 minutes or so to get home, talking to each other on the phone in cars right behind or in front of each other, because we know by the time we get back there, it's not, by the time we get back, Lola doesn't even want to talk to me. Usually somewhere in that ride, I have annoyed the crap out of her. And she goes in there and she's like, don't even talk to me anymore. She says 45 minutes.
So Hank, go ahead, Walter.
I was just going to say, we were talking about the internet. Do you think this Skylink thing will fix all that?
You mean Elon Musk thing?
Yeah. With 700 satellites up there already.
Wait, he's got 700?
700.
Okay, so they're testing that already, right? They're just not testing it. Where are they testing it, in Africa or something?
No, there've been some people testing it here too, but yeah, they just launched another one the other day.
Yeah.
So they got 700 satellites.
I hope it does.
I've never met Elon personally, but I'm a strong acquaintance with the guy who they bought the F1s back in the day together, and claims to know Elon very well. And we had a couple, healthy debates about our views on Elon's business model. But what's interesting is he said Elon's basically not a bad dude. He justifies every decision he's made about, achieving taxpayer dollars, because he firmly believes the world will cease to exist within 7 years, and we've got to get human life on Mars to save the human race.
7 years, huh?
Swear to God. I mean, this
sounds like Al Gore.
That, I've seen the pictures. I know the guy knows him well. I mean, the guy's a very well-off guy here in Phoenix, and it's correct. They know each other, but I've never.
This planet will be here 700 years from now. 7,000 years.
It'll be here 700,000 years from now.
Yeah.
Look out for the cow farts. Those cow farts are coming for us, though.
Yeah.
And whether we're here or not, it does not care.
No, it doesn't. It will still be spinning. It could be a massive freaking asteroid could hit the planet, and only half of it is spinning around, and the core is exposed or whatever. It'll still be here, man.
It doesn't care.
Yeah, but listen. I don't know if we really want to, because I can get real mad about what happened. Because look, didn't the government give a bunch of money to like the phone companies and all that in order to put higher speed internet?
Let's go back in time a little bit. That happened during the Obama administration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they were gonna get the internet out in the rural areas for the folks, And now I would venture to say that most of those companies that got that money were probably political donors.
Probably.
I would probably say that.
Isn't that what AT&T used to take over?
Sprint? Wasn't it Sprint?
No. What's the name of the cable provider that they took over? The guys who do Dish. I think it was Dish Network.
A Dish Network, yeah.
Yeah. They used that. They didn't actually do that thing.
They just bought stuff with it, right?
Yeah. Most of these guys didn't do anything. So,
well, of course they didn't. It wasn't about
government money. I mean, that's like the whole Elon Musk thing, right? I mean, it's like you got SpaceX and Solar City and Tesla. Mm-hmm. What do they all have in common, right? I mean,
now. So here's the thing. Go ahead, Walt. Go ahead.
I'll give them credit on SpaceX. They're making it work.
Well, I think we need to. We cannot, right? We cannot. The what we are as America, right? We cannot afford to not spend money.
Oh yeah.
On getting into space and doing things in space. We just can't. We have to spend money, and I think it's probably better in Elon Musk's hands than whatever these idiots were doing. I mean, we had shuttles from the 80s, and eventually we had to stop that, and we couldn't go back to the moon and all that crap. So
we have a 20-year-old space station up there that's starting to fall apart.
Yeah. Okay. But if you look at the Falcon 1 able to like launch and then come back on its own and land itself and all that.
That's pretty badass. I have to give them credit.
If the government was left up to that, there's no way we would be doing that.
No, I would 100% agree that privatization is always a better situation than, the government, right? And it's just when you look at, it'd be one thing is if we voted as a people, hey, Americans, we're going to invest into and make Tesla a thing, and we all get stock.
Yeah. Well, so Tesla, so the car side of it, I don't agree with. The car side of it, I don't agree with.
Yeah, it's not necessary.
And I'm not saying that like Tesla's probably making the better electric car that's out there in terms of, if you look at electric cars, they're like
all
phones.
around.
They're like phones. So I think other companies are getting into the business, but they can't actually compete with Tesla because they're doing better battery times and all of that kind of stuff, and they're upgrading over the air. Huh?
Tesla's got the government cheese.
But they've got the government money, and so I have a problem with that.
Right.
And because Tesla is out there, and they are good, so I'm trying to be fair and balanced on this and tell you guys how I really think about it. I spend a lot of time looking at the car space, and I see like a Tesla electric car as a phone. And I don't really buy a phone anymore. I like lease that phone for whatever time. And when I'm done with that, I upgrade, because when I'm doing, a lot of my stuff takes place on the phone. So Teslas are more like phones, but the car companies are building electric cars like their cars, and it's got to be somewhere in the middle of that, right?
Right.
And the thing that makes me mad is Tesla's doing it with our money, and then everyone's like, well, we got Teslas, so everything can just be electric now. No, it can't.
No,
we still don't. I mean, Tesla, without government subsidies and government support, they still can't sell a vehicle at what an American consumer will spend and make a profit.
Yeah,
and
they haven't made a car that I would. The only car I would consider buying from Tesla is the Cybertruck.
And that's not around, so
no, not yet.
Yeah, we've got the big drama down here. What was it, Nikola Motors? That just all fell apart. Yeah, I mean those things looked pretty rad. I mean what they said they were, but that whole deal is falling apart.
It's hard for a new company to come out and be competitive without our money. And yes, Tesla got our money. And for Tesla, here's one of the things. Like if anyone out there watches Rich Rebuilds, which he's the black guy that does, like he built a Tesla from salvage. He found a salvage Tesla. Yeah, he bought one, thought he was doing like some kind of cheap thing. It was in flood damage, and then he realized it was crap. He had to get another one, and I think he wound up buying like 3 Teslas to build one. But
he couldn't get parts.
Yeah, he does good videos. But what he says about Tesla is that used or salvage, Tesla bricks those things. If you try to plug into their charging thing and fast charge and do all that stuff, and that's totally ridiculous considering the fact that the taxpayers paid for Tesla. They shouldn't be able to lock people out of stuff like that, right? If you buy any other car, you can do anything you want to do with that car. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean you can swap a different engine into it and everything. I mean it's all, like the phone analogy. I actually have never heard someone phrase it that way, but I totally agree with it. That's a great correlation.
That's what it is. They don't when Teslas get old, they don't want you to keep taking care of it and pass it down to your kids and all that craziness. They want you to get a new one. And
so you're spending $90,000 on like a Model S, and then 5 years later it's worth $0. So your cost of ownership, you buy a new truck, it's about $3,000 a year, right? Mm-hmm. With depreciation or whatever, if you don't go crazy, and in basics. Mm-hmm. So now you went from $3,000 a year to almost $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
But you're not spending money on theoretically, but you're sending money to charge it. I mean, and then you got it doesn't pencil, and that's where this whole
electric car thing.
Politicians is just insane. It's absolutely insane that they're suggesting that we're anywhere close.
Did Tesla pay back did Elon Musk pay back the money that the government gave him for Tesla, or no? Did that ever get paid back? I don't know.
I don't know.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should have done that. I think if you're going to go out of business, by the way, can I tell you guys something? Tesla is not, even if they didn't get the government money, I don't think they would have gone out of business. I'll tell you why. Anytime Elon Musk needs money, there's plenty of people out there ready to give him money, not just the government.
Yeah, but is it enough to keep a business like that going day to day?
They will do it. They'll do it, and I'll tell you why. Because people want to own that technology. If he ever goes out of business, they want the technology he's developed. But there's always people willing to invest in Tesla. That's why I'm not really sure why the government had to bail them out in the first place.
Well, here's where it gets ludicrous, right? Where you had a valuation on Tesla higher than General Motors, right? I mean, it's insane. And to your point, Hank, I mean, there's two different. I mean, I'm heavily in the startup community, and he would have struggled to get funding because there's no in the act of making cars, because it's a loss without the government stepping in.
Mm-hmm.
He could have potentially gotten money as a think tank where you're just developing technologies and hoping to solve those technologies. But the act of making cars where you're losing money on each car, you're not going to get that funded. It's not a thing. It would have been a think tank like, Silicon Valley is littered with think tanks. And I work with, quite a few of them in the med device, and they're just going to lose millions of dollars and hopefully one day develop stuff that's worth more than the millions they lost. And that's very common, and that's what it would have been. But actually producing vehicles at a loss, without government intervention, I don't think we'd see Teslas on the road. We may see as much or more technological advancement than Tesla's achieved, because so much of their focus was put on production.
Yeah, and they're unnecessarily changing the tradition of what a car is. So what I mean by that is, like, cars can live for a long time. You can completely rebuild a car. There's all these things you can do with what a car was before. But once we go into this whole phone thing, then it's like, do you guys remember the sidekicks? Remember those sidekicks things? No one's carrying a sidekick right now.
Well, honestly, so even an iPhone 4, right? I mean, iPhone 4 or 6 or whatever year. I mean, you don't see anything right now older than a 6. I just upgraded last year from a 6 to whatever the cheapest 10 thing is. At some point,
well, that's what Apple or any of these companies could do to you. If you don't eventually upgrade, they just keep slowing it down when you upgrade the operating system and stuff like that. So that's the hard part of it. Like, people have got beautiful cars from the beginning of cars, right? And they take care of those cars, and they can do all kinds of stuff, and you can rebuild them, and you can do all these things. And what's going to happen is you can't do that anymore with what they're going to. And basically, you're just going to you'll go in, you'll pay for this, then you'll be on to another thing and on to another thing. And then even I think what's going to happen there is that combustion engines are going to become more valuable, especially the special cars, because soon you're not going to, like, California is going to ban people from even manufacturing those.
There'll be nobody else in California by then.
It's almost like if anyone's you guys are in Florida, so I'm sure you can't help but spend time on boats, but, it's a 2-stroke versus 4-stroke of boats, right? I mean, 2-stroke parts have skyrocketed for good 2-stroke motors because of these mandates for everyone went strokes, but Hank, one question I want to ask you, we haven't had a chance to talk personally on it, is what's your plans for SHOT Show with all that's happening right now? Are you guys planning on going still?
Yeah, we were talking about that. Walt, you want to go first? Are you still?
Well, the tables are paid for, and the room is...
I'm the same boat.
Well, I mean, let me feel. If they have the show and you don't go,
you get nothing.
Yeah, you're not going to get anything from it.
You're dead. You're dead to them after that. You're dead to them. You have to. Your whole spot gets reset.
No. You've paid for it already. I mean. If you skip a year and don't pay for it, you'll lose your stuff. Yeah, you'll lose your preference, your space, or whatever. Yeah, I mean, you could just not go and spend that for that 10 by 20 space like we have, and just I guess write it off. But we'll probably end up going on against my better judgment. I don't know what kind of show. I don't know what kind of show it's going to be, because a lot of spectator type people aren't going to come.
Yeah, we would just to give you some context here, Jeremy, and I know you missed it, but there's a whole bunch of rules. So one of the rules we were reading through, and this is rules for Nevada.
From the county. From the county.
So in an event that has over 2,500 people attending, you can only have 10% of the total capacity there. That's the rules they wrote. So I know you're a numbers guy.
Yeah.
Calculate that for a second.
Yeah. So I mean, I know SHOT historically, like our better years, we've been in this 60 to I think as high as in the 70,000s range. Yeah. I don't know what their capacity is.
Mm-hmm. Someone says you gotta clean the lens, Jeremy. I don't know if it's that. I think the internet might be a little. I don't know if we can get Jeremy to clean up the lens a little bit. I don't know if you got maybe some stuff on the lens, but.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. He's also outside of the house. He's outside. So.
Other side.
Yeah, he's on Wi-Fi.
There you go. Hopefully not.
Yeah, there you go. Clean it up. Then we saw your belly button.
Yeah.
Okay, and then try to center it. Try to center the camera a little bit more. Let's see. I'll tell you when you're perfect. A little bit more. Right there. Yeah.
All right.
There you go. Yeah. I'm sorry. So I interrupted you. What were you saying?
No, so I mean we did 10 by 10 the last 2 years, so we went same as Walter. Now we're 10 by 20, and I haven't even read the rules more. It's been I glanced at them, but it's just a lot of the media guys. That's what I wanted to ask you, Hank, is on your end is a lot of the media guys I'm talking to, folks that we both know are not going now, and which is a mega bummer to guys like Walter and I, right?
Mm-hmm.
So. We'd love to have you go. Is kind of what I'm saying.
So my thing is, so I did get approval, and Lola and I have badges, or will be issued badges. The thing is, with all these restrictions they're talking about, and the things that we'll have to do, I'm not sure if it's going to happen. And I think that what people have been saying is NSSF isn't really they're gonna meet sometime in November, so they have to meet and decide whether or not they're doing this. Yeah. And if they decide not to do it, obviously none of us are going. If they decide to do it with all these restrictions, we really have to sit there and ask ourselves if it's worth it to spend all the money to go down there. And then, maybe maybe it'll be like what happens when you go to Best Buy or something, right? That only 10% of the building can be occupied at any time, and everyone else is standing outside or doing some if it becomes like a police state, I don't know what's the point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'm guessing, Walter, you're in a similar boat to what we are in, when by the time you book rooms or houses and travel and that kind of stuff, the commitments we already made are, around $20,000, even for a smaller situation like we both have. Right. I mean, I can't call me cheap, but I have a hard time swallowing that pill and just saying I spent it too bad. You're kind of forced to go, and then, honestly, it almost resorts back to if there's not a lot of consumers or not a lot of customers there, potential customers, it's going to be more networking with other booths, right? Trying to figure out how Walter and I can invent the next great mini bike part so we can pay for 20 grand.
Oh,
well, I'm already working on that.
No,
so.
I know you haven't been looking at this whole mini bike saga also.
I'm working on that right now. So.
Yes, trust me, he's putting a lot of R&D, Walter calls it.
Yeah, I can help you with the tax write-offs for tooling.
Yeah.
So I can spend $1 million real quick.
Yeah. What I could say, I don't know if you want to answer that, Walter. Go ahead.
What about not going, or just?
Yeah,
like I kind of said before, I don't want to stand there with a mask on and talk to people mumbling to each other, where you can't understand what they're saying. I was just thinking about this whole mask thing earlier. A lot of the people who go to SHOT Show are old, and a lot of those old people are scared to death to be out in public because they're going to catch their death. They're going to catch something.
So no old people at SHOT Show, you're saying?
Oh, I'm not saying no old people, but they're not going to come.
Maybe.
So I live right by a retirement community, 55 plus. I think there's a segment of it that's 45 plus. Pretty high end retirement community. And what's interesting here is, obviously we're in Arizona, so I know Florida's been a topic in the news as well. But what's interesting is I talk to the business owners here locally, because a lot of them are scared about getting shut down for not enforcing compliance for mask requirements, things like that, right? Restaurants and such, other small business owners I know here. Mm-hmm. And most their folks that will refuse to wear a mask are elderly. And I don't know if it's just like, I've lived my years, I'm good, I'm done. I don't know.
I think it's also that the mask restricts your breathing and stuff like that. I mean, it's not necessarily healthy for them to be out there restricting their breathing like that.
Last weekend I was at a mini bike race at the Cabbage Patch Bar here in Florida during Bike Week, right? Mm-hmm. Not a mask in the whole place, and there were thousands of people there. And it's just, but that's a different kind of crowd too. That's the kind of crowd that goes, F the mask. Mm-hmm. They don't care. They're wild and crazy and all that stuff.
We're all gonna have to get this herd immunity thing one way or the other. I think if you're at high risk, then hey, you got to live in a bubble.
The thing that gets me is if it was so bad, everybody would be. You would know somebody right now that was. I don't know if you do or not, and I did know people that got sick, but it would be like everywhere. But it's not.
Yeah. I mean, the number's over 30 in my circles, circle out here of people who have gotten it. And honestly, I don't know anyone that had even something that I would compare to the worst SHOT Show crud or generic that we've gotten in past years. I mean, a couple guys have fevers over 100 for a couple days, and that's really been the worst cases I've heard of.
Yeah, but
obviously people are dying. I appreciate that, but
oh yeah, yeah.
A lot of guys. We had my local police department right in my community here. I think they had a total of like 18 guys that came down with it. I knew 3, and one guy was actually bedridden for a day out of the whole group. Some guys just had a headache. Some were asymptomatic because they knew they had exposure.
Right.
It's just,
after SHOT Show last year, I got something, and it wasn't like a normal something. It was a little different. I mean, I had that dry cough, and I felt like crap for a few days. My son got the same thing, and I caught colds and stuff from SHOT Show where your nose is running in the whole 9 yards. But this was a little different, and it took about 2 weeks to get back to full strength. But that place was crawling with Chinamen too. Yeah, remember that SHOT Show in January was full of Chinese. Aside from the show, they come there to gamble and everything else, and the Chinese New Year was going on, and they hadn't shut down. We hadn't shut down the air travel.
So how we learned about the first time I heard the word COVID, and I had talked to some different folks about what was allegedly taking place in China all during that day. Actually, it was the next day because we actually first heard about it. We got some alert to our phone. It was like the lost kid or intimate weather or whatever, incoming weather. My wife wanted to go to the Chinese New Year celebration at the Bellagio, and so we were sitting and watching that David, I forget his last name, Pianist to the President play, and did the whole botanical gardens at the Bellagio, and of course it's all Chinese people there, right? And then these alerts pop up, and we're like, what's going on?
But yeah, I heard a figure that was like 400,000 or 200,000 Chinese traveled to the U.S. before they shut down the airfare, and some of those were coming right from Wuhan. So that stuff was being to all these cities all over the country. Mm-hmm.
It's a tough topic. Period. There's no really.
Yeah.
It's just a tough topic. But
yeah, and we might go a little bit late here if you guys don't mind. I don't know if Walter has a hard break or anything like that, but obviously, yeah, I don't know if you have to get out of here or not because it's 9, but we'll probably go a little bit longer here. You guys who are hanging out with us, if you smash the thumbs ups, we would appreciate that. What I was going to say, Jeremy, and I think I said this earlier, if it's not going to happen or it looks like a lot of people aren't going to go there, I think we have other things we can do to get stuff out. So we've got this technology that we're using, and there's other things that we can all do and still get those things out and get it to the people. And in some ways it'll work better. In some ways it may not be as good. People might not be able to get hands-on with things, but I think we just have to adapt and overcome, and we have tools in the toolbox that we can use to still get things out.
Totally. And I think one thing unique about this industry, and I won't say names in this, but some of the larger companies I deal with, there are topics come up of just not going, right, because of liability with employees. Some of the larger companies that would go to a SHOT, but also this industry is so short-sighted. And I've talked about that a lot when I've talked to people about this industry. In the standpoint of there's not a ton of money and effort spent on research and development. People aren't thinking about products, what the industry needs 5 years from now, such as they would in medical device or other spaces like that. And so, it's kind of frustrating for me where I'll talk to companies and they're like, well, we don't even need SHOT Show this year. Sales are awesome. And I'm sitting there going, well, what about 5 years from now, right? It seems like a lot of especially the larger, more established companies are kind of going, well, I sell everything I make. I don't need to do a marketing event right now.
I think that's true. I think we might see that. Rain gave us $5 here. Big thanks to Rain. Rain also says, I can't wait for companies to research 6G. I heard it's safer, but I'm still afraid of Skynet and AI in vehicles like Kit from Knight Rider.
Yeah.
So one thing I'll do real quick, just I didn't go grab a speed mag, but the first person to comment that correctly names what was the first XTech tactical product, I will send a speed mag out to.
Okay.
So right now, live go.
Yeah. So if you can say right now, the first person we see in the comments that says what is the first product that XTech Tactical put out there, Jeremy's gonna send you the new speed mag. Ba-boom. Let's see who does it. Everyone's right now searching the Google machine, and let me show you guys something. If you're looking out there, you want to know XTech's the website. Just search XTech Tactical, and you can go to the website. I'm pulling it up right now, and you can get a good look at the website and what it looks like, and all the different things they have, like the smart laser. The smart laser's out. I never saw a smart. I didn't see a smart laser.
Yeah, we're honestly about sold out of them, and we are revamping the product, I guess is one way to put it. I've had the desire. I wanted to see how consumers what they thought of the technology, and it's been a hit. We really kind of took a different approach to releasing that product. But yeah, so we are now seeking to take it to the next level, and also I have some other technologies I've been working on in the optics, lighting, laser space for the firearms market, where I want to try and roll those into the next iteration. So we will have more smart lasers in stock. I think we still have some, but it's like around 100 left. And then we're kind of at a crossroads right now. Do we order more in thousands, or do we really put the pedal down and try and get the Gen 2 going, which would make it smaller. Price may go up slightly, but no, it's a really, really cool technology, especially for the new gun owner, someone who wants, kind of the perfect thing for a nightstand pistol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's lots of, I don't know if you see the comments coming in.
Oh, let me jump over there.
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone said it yet. I'm not trying to give any clues.
They're kind of vague, some of the answers.
Yeah, some people are just saying a magazine. Well,
nope, haven't seen it yet.
Yep, so there you go.
We did talk about it at one point during this podcast, so just throw it out.
Oh, what? If you were listening out there. Let me go to a couple of things while people are doing that real quick here. There's a couple of things out there. Have you guys seen that there's some rappers now that it looks like they're either going to be working with the old Trumpster or, just outright supporting him? Like, for example, Ice Cube. Ice Cube said he's talking to Trump, right? Because it looks like Trump was the most interested in like working with him, I guess.
Working with him, and
yeah.
What do you mean by working?
Ice Cube, do you remember?
Yo, man, yo,
today was
Trump rapping,
Yeah, it was a good day. I didn't have to use my AK.
Good day,
yeah. So Ice Cube had a contract with America, which I read, and it was crazy nonsense. But he wanted to see whether the Democrats or the Republicans would respond to him. And Trump, I think, was willing to cut out the most money, and the Democrats were like, wait till after the election type of deal. So,
yeah, bless their hearts.
Yeah. So, did you post the answer up in there? I don't know what.
Someone just wrote it, so I'm just letting them know we have a winner.
What was that again?
The grip.
Oh, okay.
Okay, who was that?
That was Axe Warrior. Congratulations.
Oh, there you go. So he gets one. Congratulations to Mike out there. Yeah, Gunmetal Guy USA says thanks to Ice Cube for holding his ground with all the pushback, which he got a lot of pushback for saying that he was going to talk to Trump. Well, guess what? 50 Cent now basically endorsing the old Trumpster, and I'll just share that with you guys real quick.
Really?
And by the way, this is in Newsweek, and it says a black CEO calls 50 Cent opportunistic puppet after Trump endorsement. And it says 50 Cent became the latest high-profile rapper to voice support of President Donald Trump, and the backlash arrived as quickly as it took for him to push the tweet button. Christopher Boozy, a black CEO and founder of Bot Sentinel, was one of the first prominent names to voice his opposition to the entertainer who was born Curtis Jackson. The controversy began yesterday when 50 Cent shared an image taken from CNBC's Power Lunch program that broke down what Joe Biden's tax plan would mean for different states. The rate showed a tax rate of 62% for New York, just below the 62.6% estimate for California. The rapper captioned the photo, "What the F? Vote for Trump. I'm out. F New York. The Knicks never win anyway. I don't care that Trump doesn't like black people. 62%. Are you out of your effing mind?" And he goes on. So yeah, that's basically technically. You know what's interesting? He didn't endorse he didn't endorse what's his name, Kanye. He didn't
Well, I
endorse.
think,
Yeah.
it's just insane to me how few people you talk to during this whole election cycle that even know, and how much honestly I even know about what Biden's plan would be. Like it just it seems like the topic is all about the people, and then there's such a jump to shame. Like someone's speaking out. Like, I mean, actually the facts are the facts. What
Yeah.
Obama did for minorities compared to what Trump's done for
Yeah.
minorities.
When it
not
hits your pocketbook, you're gonna notice.
Right, but the topic isn't even that. I mean, I remember watching debates of, when Clinton ran for office and George W. and so much topic was on policy. Now it's more like it's not policy is the bottom line. And what you're electing is policy. Just indisputably you're electing policy. And I think what percentage of this country even knows, I mean, what Biden's policy is, and how much does the media even care about what Trump's done from a factual standpoint? So it's just such a rush to shame. And I give props to people that take this and I hope those gentlemen would sit there and say, like, this isn't, I'm trying to make this not about color, right? This is about black and white from a standpoint of simplicity. This is Trump's done good things for Americans. Doesn't matter what color you are.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you want to give away more of your money so he can give it away?
No.
I mean, you want to track the Constitution, right? That's what's up here. To me, this election and the what direction as a country we would be endangering our Constitution as a whole. I mean, we've got the left agenda saying the Constitution's out of date, and so let's just make up our own rules.
The Constitution is just as back then in those days they had the exact same problems we have now. The only thing they didn't have is technology. That's
Absolutely.
it. Mm-hmm. They had the same scoundrels, they had the same thieves, they had the same whores, they had the same everything. People getting on their knees.
Right? I mean, I think what you're getting at is, humans are still humans, right?
They just didn't have phones, they didn't have machine guns, they didn't have cars, but the same problems, exact same problems. So all those things that they came up with, those old white guys that came up with that back then, it still applies today.
100%, Walt. You're right. And here's the thing. Who wants to give 62% in taxes before you even pay your expenses?
Well, and the thing is, like so many people, like there's a minority of Americans, right, that I feel no one talks about, right? And that minority of Americans, I think the three of us all fall into, in the sense that, we hustle, right? Meaning we're motivated to provide more security to our family financially. We're motivated to leave a legacy. We're motivated to make shit happen, pardon my French, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those, and you just look at the socialistic tendencies or the socialism already happening in this country that affect those people that, like the three of us, and I'm sure a lot of the people, commenting here on the same boat, where, you're not, if you make 30 grand a year, maybe you're happy with it, good for you. But, those of us that don't fit in there and say, hey, I want to do more each year, it's just demoralizing to have that kind of a capped milestone where it hurts you more. That idea of a tax system, it's like, I maxed out Social Security basically my entire adult life from a contribution standpoint. Why? And then it may not even be there, right? But my point is, it's not a woe is me. It's we should write laws that motivate people to do more, not discourage them from doing more. Right. And it's insane to me.
And pay them for doing less.
Yeah, it's like, we have, for our manufacturing company, it has a lot of employees. You see people that are, try and work the system to get on state healthcare, because if they make X dollars more, then they've got to spend, 15 grand a year in premiums like I do for high deductible. I mean, it's like, it's demotivating, right? It's like asking, telling a duck, well, go fly, be a snowbird, go fly north for the winter. It's like, why? You're just feeding me right here.
Yeah.
It's so backwards. It's incredible.
Yeah, DCG 44 says 62% means unemployment pays better. And yeah, if you're a wealthy dude like 50 Cent, you're just going to go, why bother? Why?
Well, you're
I'm just going to take
probably
my money and chill.
That's 60.
You're going to play games. You're going to play every game you can. You're going to walk the lines. I mean, and that's the whole thing, is like, because you have that other group, right? Like Romney, or people would argue like Trump that make enough where they can take advantage of the laws that are there. But if you're someone making six figures, whether it's $100,000 a year or $500,000 a year or $800,000 a year, you're still an honest guy. And depending where you live in the country, $500,000 a year isn't that much money, right? I mean, it sounds like a lot, but it's actually not. When you look at cost of living in certain areas, or if you have a family to feed and you want to put your kids through, college, and you have a couple kids, you're not buying an island ever at $500,000 a year, right? And maybe with no electricity in the Keys, maybe a deep spot, but you know what I mean. And so many people just take that data and go, it's always how do you're trying to climb enough where you can make interest income versus income, actual earned income, and save money on taxes, but you can never get there, right? It's that jumping from what people would call middle class to upper middle class to wealthy that is such a, that climb's been harder and harder to make, and no one really talks about that subsect of folks. I think there's a lot of Americans that fit into that. And you could be making, don't get me wrong, if you're watching this and you make $10 an hour right now, that doesn't mean, if you have the mindset that you want to accomplish things, you're in that group. You may not be there financially right now, but you're still in that group. And anything that discourages you from winning and growing and building value in the world, I think is a terrible law. And we are flooded with those laws.
Yeah. Walter, you going to say something?
Yeah, well, I was, but I forgot what I was going to say. That's all right, no worries. Yeah, people don't understand. It's like everybody that in Florida, they're trying to push this thing where they're going to knock the minimum wage up to $15 an hour. The guy that works for 15, if that happens, all the businesses are going to raise their prices to make up. You're not going to all of a sudden become high on the hog with your $15 an hour. You're gonna end up paying, instead of $10 for your McDonald's meal, you're gonna pay $15, and everything will go up to compensate for that. So.
Well, and then you pair that, Walter, with the the generations, the personality of the generations as a whole. If I were to, we have a very entitled society, right? So, as an employer, if I asked you to hire me and give me a path to make $1 million a year, would you say no? Or would you look and study how I'm going to earn enough money to justify that $1 million, right? I'm an employer, you're an employer. I don't say no to people if they have a dream. It's just show me. You have to come from a place of bring me the value and ask for an appropriate reward for that value. And conversation doesn't happen in this country much more.
Right. Yeah. I mean, none of the.
Showing up is not value.
Nobody works for me from. No. And a lot of them can't even show up. So they have a hard time getting there for whatever reason.
I think at the end of the day here, people looking at this, and definitely the people who are going to vote, regardless of what their economic situation is or whatever else they're concerned about, I think they're looking at this and they can see that what the Democrats are putting out here is BS. Right? You can't magically, the guys who have all the money in America, because I don't know, even they say, hey, they're not going to tax anyone who makes under $400,000.
Bullshit.
But here's the thing. The dudes who have the serious money in America, they're already in a position, you're not touching them. You're not touching them. Stuff, and they could like Jeremy was saying, they could play games, they could put their things, they've got all kinds of things already set up in order to do that. What you need to do is get out of the way of the economy. Right? Instead of just trying to fix all of these things by we're going to tax our way to this. Ultimately, those people who you want to help are going to suffer when everything dries up. Why are people leaving California and New York? That's what 50's talking about right there.
Why did manufacturing go overseas? Because the government got involved with EPA. They got involved with the lawyers, and they got involved with all these regulations, and the companies say, "Hey, fuck, I'll go have some Chinese slave guy do it, and I'll make twice as much money."
Yeah. Well, and honestly, Trump's defense, I think he could do a lot better job of articulating it in the debates. I don't think anyone here would argue that he can, Pence is a better debater.
Well, anybody with a brain know how she got where she got.
Yeah, and you look at Biden's roles in his historic votes and the Democratic Party as a whole, their history on what led to jobs going overseas was very, very significant.
He's coasted for
insane.
47 years. He's done nothing.
Yeah.
So,
So it is exciting though on the manufacturing side to see. There's a lot of what's interesting is there's a bill floating through Congress that I haven't seen materialize, and I think there's been so much focus on slamming, shaming, and impeachment noise to ever get anywhere with it. But there was a lot of topic about I'm a partner in a sourcing company, and about requiring essential products as deemed by the U.S. government. If you produce them, you had to make 50% in the U.S. And as a result of that, I expected to be ran over with RFQs, which we got them for what would be obviously essential products such as medical devices, et cetera. But really, the reshoring I've seen has been, plumbing, pool products. It's all the other stuff where guys are going, well, I've been wanting to move for years. The tariffs, kind of given me a financial reason to move. And now I'm worried about this bill coming to pass that would make it so I can't move. U.S. prices will rise and backlog and, will go. And it's been a lot of kind of unregulated products that I've seen come back to the U.S. on my side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We could actually keep going on this, but we are like 20 minutes over the normal time. So I'm going to break this up. I mean, I think what we need to do is get Jeremy to come back. Hopefully by then he's got his monster truck sorted out.
Tires fixed.
Yeah,
Get the tires figured out.
Yeah.
Tires are done. I'm good to go there now. So
yes.
But ladder is on order.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give Walter a chance, and then Jeremy. Walter, tell the folks out there if they want to follow up with Safety Harbor Firearms on anything or see what you guys are up to. What should they do?
They can check us out, Safety Harbor Firearms, on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also safetyharborfirearms.com. You can call the shop. You can email. Don't get upset if I don't respond to your email immediately because we're kind of small.
Yeah, and then there's busy making mini bikes or riding them.
I did not do that all day today.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I didn't. I was tempted. But and then there's also stenparts.com for the Sten Parts stuff. And then there's Dirtfoot Racing for the mini bike stuff. So that's on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram also. So, I haven't started selling any mini bike stuff. That's coming up. So I'm just thinking about stuff. So.
All right, cool. Jeremy, for the folks out there who want to follow up with you, if they've got more questions or they just want to see, what XTech's all about, how could they do that?
Sure. XTechTactical.com is our website. We also have Instagram, Facebook. We do our best to keep up right now. And so if you have to message us twice, I'm sorry. It's not an urgent with an order question. But we'd love to talk with you and get to know you guys. Yeah,
absolutely. And I was running in a little bit of the website there for the people who are watching. If these guys are easy to find online. We'll be doing some more stuff here. It's getting cooler on the range, so we'll be getting out there and testing things and all that kind of stuff. You guys are going to see some of that incorporated in this. Hopefully we'll get out there to XTech soon, and we'll get Jeremy back. We'll get him back over here. So, feel free to reach out to him or Walter. Stay there, the two of you guys. Big thanks to Walther Arms for sponsoring the show. Don't forget about hankstrange.com, guys. I'm going to roll in the end. There it goes. Make sure you guys smash the subscribe button, ring the bell, so you can be notified every time we go live. What we're going to do is pull the audio out of this and throw it up on iTunes and all the other places that you get your audio podcasts. Thanks to these guys once again, Jeremy from XTech Tactical, as well as Walter from Safety Harbor Firearms, and all you guys out there, smash the thumbs ups now. I know we're getting out of here. We will see you tomorrow. We've got Rob Pincus, and we do have someone was on the ground right there when it happened, that latest NFAC discharge situation that happened, and they'll be coming on tomorrow to talk to that. We'll see you. We're out of here. Peace. Who wants the last word? Jeremy,
go Bulls.
Nothing?
Stay safe, everyone. Yeah, it's great seeing y'all.
Absolutely. We're out. Peace.